Well, there's my beautiful podcast, people. Everybody good? All right, great to hear. Thanks, as always, for listening to the podcast. And, of course, thanks to our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning for making it all possible. Can we believe it's April already? And like the old saying goes, April showers brings gross, disgusting humidity and heat in May. Beat the heat and the summer rush. Have Standard Heating and Air Conditioning out to work on that AC soon. April is the best month to get your air conditioning wrenched on before the huge summer rush starts. So get on that today. Go to standardheating.com and schedule that AC tune-up. Thanks for listening. We love you podcasters. Enjoy the show.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93.
Y'all know what day it is?
April Fools.
April Fools.
Yes, April Fools.
My favorite holiday is April Fool's Day. And some people try and bring me down, say it's not even a holiday. I think that's the greatest holiday there is, because the way it's structured. Because on April Fool's Day, you play a prank on a friend of yours, and then you yell the name of the holiday at them. I don't see why we don't celebrate every holiday like that. Like, who set fire to my mailbox? Happy Valentine's Day!
You know what they say? Fool me once, strike one. But fool me twice, strike three.
April Fool, mother. Now listen, we're nobody's fool, but I pity the fool. I pity the fool!
It's showtime.
Oh, sure. The old, the April Fool's routine, huh?
Today's the day. Head on a swivel.
You got anything planned for us, Cubby?
No.
You got to remember I have a heart problem.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that to you. I know you don't like that kind of thing.
Well, I love a good prank. I do. I'm just too lazy to put one together. Welcome to the Half-Assed Morning Show, our April Fool's Day broadcast. I do love a good prank. I wish I had the drive, the energy, the motivation for such a thing, because a really well put together prank where you just turn somebody upside down, I mean, brilliant, love it. I mentioned before, I'm a big fan of the fake scratch-off lottery tickets where you fool someone. You fool someone into thinking they just won $30,000.
No, I'm with you.
How do you not like that bit?
Because I've seen some heartbreak on people.
Yeah, they tried to do that to my mom on Christmas one year. And
I got a long list of things I'd try to do to your mom.
Hey, now, I put a stop to it. I told her beforehand because I know that would have gave her a heart attack.
So you saw it played out on your mother?
No. So.
Oh, they were going to, but you told them not to.
I told my mom ahead of time, hey, they're going to give you a scratch off, and it's fake. I just want to let you know. Make sure you play it off.
Boy, you're a freaking buzzkill.
Well, I didn't want her to get to. I knew it would have just broke her heart. I didn't want to see that happen.
Well, heartbreak can be hilarious.
I think you can only do that if the person has a lot of money.
And you've said before, though, that you don't like pranks pulled on you. And I'd imagine if somebody did that to you and you didn't know it existed, it may take you a little while to see the humor in it.
Well,
I've seen the heartbreak.
I don't know.
I felt so bad. I didn't know it was coming either. And I was super excited for him. Like, I can't believe it. I've never seen anybody win that big. And then everyone's laughing.
I saw it once in person, and it was lights out.
Yeah, that one I always thought was pretty mean.
Well, mean can be good now and again.
I don't know. I never felt that way.
Mean can be good. Yeah, I mean, we've told a couple stories on this here radio program on past April Fool's Days that fooled some people. Nothing huge, but we had our fun. Me and a pal put on a fake fist fight at a beer party when we were kids that fooled everyone. Fake blood and everything. So a good bit.
I wouldn't recommend that these days.
A good bit can go a long way.
Safe. These days, I mean, you're
someone will shoot
shot,
you. Yeah, you get shot. And yeah. No, that was the early, I believe they called it the 1990s. And I'm sure I'm forgetting some other BS stories and whatnot that I've told to F with folks in the past, but I can't remember anymore.
There's been some real stories that have broke on April Fool's or maybe March 31st that people didn't believe because they thought, nah, this is a prank. For example,
real stories. This was real stuff.
And some big ones, too.
Yeah. Well,
it's kind of sad, right? Some sad things happen, and everyone thought it was BS because of the time of year. Like the murder of Motown musician Marvin Gaye in 1984.
Oh, really?
And the circumstances are so bizarre, you could understand why you'd think, well, it's April 1st, obviously a prank. You know, big star. He's shot and killed by his dad when he was trying to break up a fight between his mom and dad.
Yeah.
And if that came out today, I would also assume, boy, that's a not a very funny prank. I would think the same thing.
So there were a lot of people who assumed that to be a bit.
Yeah, and a lot of people did.
Now that's mean, not fooling someone into thinking they won 10 grand on a silly lottery ticket.
But the fake deaths, I mean, how many have there been over the years, right? There's a lot of celebrities that have died over and over and over again. The murder of Selena in 1995, another musician. She was shot and killed by the president of her fan club.
I remember that.
Was stealing a bunch of money from her.
And that was also April 1st?
April 1st.
No kidding.
Then even a more local connection, the death of Mitch Hedberg in 1995. People thought that was an April Fool's, especially since Howard Stern broke it. I mean, this was March 31st.
And the dude's a comic.
Yeah, and he's a shock jock, quote unquote. And so people thought it was a joke. Until it settles in.
I'd never heard that. I didn't know those 3 people died on April 1st or March 31st.
Yeah, or when it was reported. Yeah, it was reported on April 1st.
And so originally people blew it off thinking it was a joke. No kidding. One of the best pranks I remember from when I was a kid was when my dad's buddies fooled him into thinking he was under arrest for allowing underage kids to use his fishing boat. The underage kids were my brother and I think there was one other kid. Somebody tell me, what is the age where a kid can start operating a boat on his own? 12, 13?
I always heard 12. Maybe it's different than that.
So this was 1982 or something. My brother and I were 11 or 12, and we were up at a tiny little fishing shack up in Bagley, Minnesota, with a little lake, bunch of hillbillies and their kids, including my brother and I and our dad. And my dad's buddies fooled him into thinking he was under arrest for allowing us underage kids to use his fishing boat. And we were out on the boat. And my dad did let us use this boat without him when we were that age, as long as we were on a small lake, without a lot of traffic. And in this particular case, he could see us from the cabin we were all staying at. All the grown fellas were sitting in a circle drinking beer on this cabin property, little lake in the distance, and that's where my brother and I and one other kid were fishing. So my dad's buddies called a real cop that they knew in Bagley, a friend of theirs, to roll up and asked her to roll up on the cabin and get out the car and say, whose boat is that out there on the lake? And my dad said, well, it's mine. And the lady cop said, well, how old are those kids out there? And my dad said, well, they're, 11 or whatever we were at the time. And the cop got all uppity, about underage kids operating a boat. And my dad said, well, okay, sure, but I mean, I can see them. Look, they're right there. I can see them from where I'm sitting. If I holler, they can hear me. So why are you making a big stink over this? And the cop says, stand up, put your hands behind your back, you're under arrest. And my dad turned to his buddies. Because, like I said, there was one other kid on the boat with us. Their dad was there too, And my dad got his hands behind his back. He's being cuffed, and he says to his buddies, help me out here, boys. And a couple of his buddies said, hey, man, I'm on probation. I can't be... And they waited until he was put in the back of the squad car to bust out the fact that it was a prank. I thought that was friggin' lights out.
And you said this was a real cop?
Yes.
What if your dad had pissed off the real cop enough where he arrested him for real?
Take a swing at her?
Yeah.
I thought that was brilliant. That was perfectly put together. I only wish I could have been there to see it because, my dad's buddies told us, they said, hey, look, we're going to pull a fast one on your old man. Go out, fish for a while. Don't come back in until we wave you in. So we were sort of part of the bit. I just wish I would have been there to see his face. All I have now is a picture of him with the cuffs on, looking confused. They took pictures of him when it was happening. So I thought that was a good one.
I forgot about this one from Vegas G. Jesus. Many years ago, for an April Fool's Day joke, the station did a bit where we said our coworker at the time, Allie, was going to post nudes on the website. And so the gist was they made it seem like it was taking forever for the photo to load, and it just stopped like right below her neck, as in it was still loading and it couldn't download.
Man, I don't remember that at all.
That one was fun.
Oh, wow. Show me your balloon, not Jesus, said his dad was the best prankster. He said we were playing hide and seek when we were 5, and we haven't seen him since, 26 years later.
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's commitment to the bit.
26 years the guy's been gone. Hilarious bit. I mean, especially once he finally comes back, that's going to be a riot. Right?
Everybody will be laughing.
Yeah.
You missed a lot, Dad. CFH bass player Jesus said, this is great. He got someone with the rubber band on the sink sprayer at work the last 5 years. Same guy.
Dude.
All those years in a row.
That's incredible.
That's what I'm talking about. That's great stuff. I wish I could, use my brain. I wish I had a little more presence of mind come the end of March to...
That's funny.
To get myself organized.
Especially since it's the same guy. I played a little clip from The Office there. That seems like something they do on The Office to Dwight, where they'd get him every single year.
The rubber band on the damn ink sprayer. That doesn't make any sense. Ink sprayer. Why did I say ink?
Sink sprayer.
Sink is the word I'm looking for. Sink. Here are a handful of fun April Fool's Day pranks to pull on your significant other. There's only a couple, 3 in here that I found funny. Some of them are. If you consider pulling a fast one on your husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend kind of a thing. Okay, this isn't bad. A lady once painted her husband's bar of soap with clear nail polish. You let it dry, then you put it back in the shower, and the sumbitch will be scraping that bar of soap up against his body like it's his job to try to get some lather out of it. But it's not going to work because it has a coat of... That sounds kind of fun.
Yeah, it's funny.
You hear your husband from the shower going, son of a bitch, trying like hell to get some... A lady's son pulled a prank on her once, filled her purse with her bras that she had to remove at a cash register in order to get to her wallet. Like when your mother is going out shopping, stuff her purse with bras or her panties or something, so your mother has to embarrassingly remove her underwears in order to get to her wallet when she's paying for something or another. I dig that one.
I hope the kid was under middle school aged. Otherwise, things might get a little awkward. I can't imagine as like a 17-year-old going through my mom's bra and underwear drawer.
Oh. Probably find a big old tool in there.
Oh, no, I would not.
Yeah, you...
Nope. She keeps that in the garage.
Buy a toilet brush identical to the one you already have and put it in the dishwasher. When your wife notices and maybe freaks out a little, remind her or tell her, I guess, hey, I've been doing this for years. You never noticed before? That kind of a thing. Toilet brush in the, how do you say it, dishwasher? Switched the apple in my dad's lunch bag with a fake apple.
Oh, you can break someone's tooth out. Unless it's squishy. Well, then they'd know right away.
That's good. You picture your dad just ready to tear, if any of us, in fact, have dads who enjoy fruit. Mine certainly didn't, but just picturing your dad biting into that fake apple and coming to a halt. That's good.
This one was simple, but I thought on the list here where they had the guy that changed his wife's birthday on Facebook to be April 1st, and all of a sudden her phone's blowing up with people texting her saying happy birthday, and she's totally confused for the entire day.
Oh, that's a really good one. I like that. It doesn't take much work either.
No, that one's easy enough, right?
Oh, man.
Although, would you ever give your significant other the password to your Facebook page, Ashley?
Yeah.
You would?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I thought that you weren't supposed to do something like that.
No, he can go on my phone whenever he wants.
Oh, man. You allow your significant other to go on your phone whenever he wants, huh?
Yeah, I don't care.
Oh, Jesus, here we go.
He doesn't, he doesn't do it much.
But sometimes
it's only
he does.
I just hand it to him if he needs it for a second. Like, oh, can I see your phone? I would not even think twice of it. I'd be like, yeah, sure. But I don't think he's ever gone through it.
I've never tried that with my wife. Never once. Maybe I should. It's just to see her reaction.
Well,
what if she's guarded and freaked out?
Oh my God! Have you ever seen those videos? And it'll be somebody eating food, and they'll have their phone next to their food, And it's a way to, like, I guess people were testing their significant others, and they'll go to grab their phone. And some people will freak out and grab their phone, but some people will grab their food because they think their significant other is trying to take, like, their fries or their chicken tenders or something.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I think I'd grab the food.
That's dirty.
Me too.
I wouldn't even think of the phone.
Right?
There are a lot of rules, in my opinion, for relationships, and one of them is don't ever look in your significant other's phones. But again, Josh, you and your wife are the exception to the rule because you're the two straightest laced sumbitches that I know. So I don't worry about you and your wife going through each other's phones. There's nothing there. But for most couples, that makes me nervous. Ashley, now I'm nervous about you and your fiancé.
Don't be nervous.
Because both of you have a shady background.
The other day, or a couple nights ago, he was texting me late at night so that I saw something in the morning. So I remember to give one of our dogs some medication. And he said he was afraid that I was going to wake up and see that he was texting at like midnight or 1 in the morning and immediately think the worst. And then he thought, well, maybe I could like shield my phone so she doesn't see the light. And he thought that's going to look even more sketchy.
There you go.
Yeah, some people might get kind of suspicious.
You know who texted in the program? Willi Water.
Oh, what's he?
Yay.
He
gets up early.
He won't give us a minute's peace, Willi Water. He texted in on pranks, and he said someone got his old boss with the fake lottery ticket. Or no, an old coworker. They pranked him with the fake lottery ticket where he won a significant amount of money is how you say that. And he did tell the boss, hey, look, I quit.
That'd be my fear. I'd do that to somebody.
And then they had to explain to him, no, you don't quit because it's a prank. This is a fake lottery. That's pretty cold, but I dig it.
The better Ross Jesus said his mom many years ago hand-sewed all of his dad's tighty-whitey's leg holes shut.
Oh!
That could break a dad's leg right
That's
there.
a lot of effort. I respect that.
Guy ends up landing right on his face.
I'm too lazy to pull off an April Fool's joke.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier. I wish I had the presence of mind to get on something. I still get my feet caught in my underwears, Josh, almost every time, and I come very close to falling right onto my face. You know what I mean?
That's why you got to get baggy ones.
Oh, God, I can't stand that. I don't know how you wear those boxer underwears where you just, it's like putting on a pair of hockey breezers, for Christ's sake.
I like that.
You got to have a little, Anyway.
Well, be careful today.
Yeah, keep an eye on the shady sumbitches. Is this an April Fool's prank then? You were just talking about legit news stories that people at first thought were nonsense when they were really true. Hooters is going family friendly?
Well, yeah, it's going bankrupt, right? And they're trying to figure out a way to save it.
Mm-hmm. So,
I mean, that's the whole gimmick. Hooters to be a little risque, right? I mean, even the name, everything.
Yeah.
I don't know how you change that. No, it's not a prank. Unless it's one that started a long time ago.
I suppose they're willing to try anything at this point because they're shutting them down.
They do have good food, but that's not why anybody goes there. And if you say that's why, you're lying.
Well, I can legitimately say that over the last 10, 12, 15 years that I mean, come on. Once you get into your 40s, is it really that big of a thrill to see a gal in orange shorts and a tight tank top?
There's so many other places to go.
I don't know.
Well, that's my point. My point is, the last number of years, I have gone there strictly for the food because at my age, a gal in a tight tank top and a pair of orange shorts doesn't exactly make me do cartwheels. Do you see what I mean?
Well, I don't think you'd be in the majority is what Ashley's saying.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, I'm sure there are people that go. I mean, there's families that go.
Taking nothing away from the heat, the gorgeous women of Hooters, I'm just saying. It's not like wow, a girl in shorts and a tank top. You know, I could go to the Boom Boom Room and see much more than that.
I know a couple people who have and continue to work there, and there's some stuff going on that is a little creepy for sure. Regulars and stuff like that.
Well, I'm sure there is, yeah. Hooters is going to try a family-friendly vibe. They're calling it a re-Hooterization or a de-Hooterization. What's it say here? They have, for a long time, had a terrific kids menu, but now they're going to make more of an effort in that department. the ownership, Hooters ownership, says it's depressing to them that women would not want their families going to Hooters, or even some women don't even like the sound of their husband going there on his own. They didn't exactly say what they'd be changing to make it more PG. Well, it is PG. Anyway. But it's safe to say the skimpy outfits and their bikini parties will be phased out.
I didn't know.
I didn't know they had
bikini parties?
Yeah, I never attended.
I've never heard of that either.
A bikini party. Yeah, and like Josh mentioned, they're having troubles filing for bankruptcy from one end of town to the other. I hope they make it.
Yeah, it's an institution. Yeah. I was sad when, so many of them closed here. We had a lot of good times at Hooters.
Yeah, there's not one near here, so I don't really care what they got going on.
Mall of America.
Is that still there? I thought that wasn't there anymore.
No, that's there.
Here's a listener, the original toolmaker Jesus. When we were kids, we got to pick a restaurant for our birthday dinner, and my brother, he says, chose Hooters for his 11th birthday. It was hilarious to watch his head spin, looking at all the girls.
That can be confusing at that age.
What are you confused about?
Oh, because isn't that around the age where things start happening?
Well, sure.
Oh, that was young for me, but yeah, for some kids, sure.
So where's the confusion? Like, what do you mean?
If something starts to happen for the first time.
You're talking about your first ever boner.
Yeah, that would be it. Very confusing.
So that's what the boys have been talking about.
And you don't know any better, so you're probably just like walking around with it.
I suppose. Now I understand what you meant by confusion.
It's kind of the same if you go someplace with belly dancers, I've learned. With kids
belly dancers?
Of that age, yeah.
Where in God's name can you go these days to see a belly dancer?
We got two places by us. One of our favorite restaurants in Sari's in Egan, they have weekends, still have belly dancers. And
old school, like this kind of? I haven't seen that since I was 8.
Where'd you go for that?
I think it was at the Renaissance Fair.
Oh, something like that? Sure.
Belly dancers.
Yep.
I honestly thought that...
Mediterranean Cruise Cafe in Burnsville, same thing. And I'm sure there's other places. Those are just the two that I'm familiar with.
So you brought my godson to this joint, and all these hips are swinging around, and midriff bearing this and that, and he was losing his mind?
Yeah, my oldest, too, when he was younger. And we kept giving him, here's $5, because he was saying we're kind of acting like a ladies' man, right? We're like, here's $5, and she's having you put it in her underwear, basically.
Really?
Yeah, kids, everything. And the kids can get up on the stage and dance with them. So yeah, that was kind of the same thing, just the redness of a lot of the young men in there being embarrassed by it.
Yeah. Wow, that's fascinating to me. Belly dancers.
Yeah, I've got buddies that always want to plan a trip to Ansari's on the belly dancer night.
So they're quite scantily clad.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Just what you'd picture a belly dancer wearing. That's what they wear.
Well, there you go. Wow, we've got company today. I'll get there because their names escaped me for just a second, but now I got it back. Janel Klein, C. Willi Myles, Glen Perkins, all coming in around 7:30.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear Glenn's take on yesterday's Twins game.
We're going to find out, I guess, right away.
We know Shavers. He was texting us yesterday. He was very frustrated.
Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder were doomsday texting everyone yesterday over the Minnesota Twins' performance against the Chicago White Sox. I guess we'll find out early in the season here, Josh, how well Glen Perkins can put a positive spin on a story. Because suddenly the boys are 0-4 and they lose to Chicago 9-0, and it just looks terrible right now. Absolutely terrible. Butcher's Hack Jesus wants to play the game. He wants to play the word game. If we celebrated drool today, what would the holiday be called? Well, it would be April, but that's not how you play we maybe send him an email or something.
Sternly worded or more friendly?
This is how you set it up, Butcher's Hack Jesus. If today's holiday was all about saliva, what would you call it?
Yeah.
Then it would be April Drools Day. This is something we need to organize on air one of these days so we can, but we appreciate the effort anyway. So again, Janel Klein, C. Willi Myles, who we haven't seen in a while, and Glen Perkins will all be joining us at 7:30 here on April Fool's Day.
Fool's Day.
If you have a great prank story, we'd love to hear them. 651-989-9393. Love a good prank. Like I said, I just always wish I was more motivated to pull one off myself. But feel free to text us. Hope you're doing well, and we'll return here in a few minutes on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Idly ho, neighborinos.
93X.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, there's my beautiful podcast, people. Everybody good? All right, great to hear. Thanks, as always, for listening to the podcast. And, of course, thanks to our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning for making it all possible. Can we believe it's April already? And like the old saying goes, April showers brings gross, disgusting humidity and heat in May. Beat the heat and the summer rush. Have Standard Heating and Air Conditioning out to work on that AC soon. April is the best month to get your air conditioning wrenched on before the huge summer rush starts. So get on that today. Go to standardheating.com and schedule that AC tune-up. Thanks for listening. We love you podcasters. Enjoy the show.
The Sean Ryan Show presents Peak Points. Get timeless inspiration from the very best of the Sean Ryan Show.
September 11th happens. What is the first thing that went through your head?
September 12th, I'm going back in the military.
Talk about being recruited by the cartel. How do you cope? Just learning how to find a new normal.
One of the most tragic events in American firefighter history. You know what comes after.
You have this beautiful life. You have these horrible experiences, yes, but you can do something with them for the greater good.
The Sean Ryan Show Peak Points. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
April Fools. Today is April Fool's Day. And we asked our listening audience, the proud, barrel-chested brother and sisterhood, to text in any great prank ideas that maybe we could use today on an unsuspecting coworker or family member or complete stranger. What great pranks have you pulled off? 651-989-9393. Here's one that sounds like fun. Cubby, listener, what the hell's the name? Supernatural Jesus. Best prank he's ever pulled off, he said. He bought the most ridiculous double-ended dildo on the market. It was...
what an invention that is.
The kind of thing that would just drop you to a knee. The double-ended dildo?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's, built for two.
Yeah, sharing is caring.
So he went ahead and bought that, wrapped it in tin foil, hid it in his brother's suitcase the night before he went on spring break.
Yeah, this is funny. A friend of mine just went out of town with his wife and a couple, and his wife requested that he bring the toys. And so he's debating, do I check them or do I put them in the carry-on bag because rules with batteries? So he was, if he checks I can't remember exactly what he said, how it would work out, but basically he was afraid if he brought them onto the plane, they'd see what was going on and maybe take him out to inspect it in front of other people. He decided it was worth it to get some on vacation.
Buy them when he gets to his location?
No, he thought it was worth it bringing them through while, bringing them on the plane, even if there's an inspection.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a carry-on type of thing.
Just take the batteries out, right? And buy batteries when you get to...
I don't think you can, because aren't they rechargeable like your phone?
Oh, you're right. Yeah, some are, I suppose. At any rate, Supernatural Jesus, his brother was pulled aside by airport security, and they had to open up his luggage, and everybody got to see this 24-foot-long double-ended dildonk wrapped in tinfoil.
This is a good one. It's a twist. Magic playing machinist Jesus said he's pulled off epic pranks at work for over 10 years on April Fool's Day. So they get to work. They're scared of everything, right? These last 10 years, he's done a great job every April Fool's Day. But this year's prank is he's going to have no pranks and just enjoy watching people slowly open drawers and doors, ready to freak out.
Everyone's
That's so fun.
You're going to be on edge all day.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Stress these people out. Anyone know where I can buy fake toilet paper?
No, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Real simple, real subtle. Someone says a great prank is to replace regular toilet paper at your house or maybe at work. With fake toilet paper, it will not rip. You cannot get it to give way. So
that would infuriate me.
There'd be some panic there.
Your coworker's coming out of the John with only one sock on, I imagine, after you pull the fake toilet paper bit.
Neck like a stack of dimes, arms like buggy whips, Jesus said he had someone put his truck up for sale on Craigslist with his real phone number on it. It took until the 20th phone call to realize what had happened.
That's good. That's good.
All right. We had also mentioned that, on this day, sometimes real things happen and people don't believe it because, no, it's a joke. This person had that experience when he proposed to his wife 11 years ago today. Didn't realize it was April Fool's Day. She thought it was a prank, so he had to show the receipt and with the engagement ring to prove, no, this is all legit.
Man, he's got himself a lady who's dialed into every holiday. All right. Toilet paper, I suppose to mention toilet paper was a good lead-in to where we're going with our very first stupid news story of the day. In a place called New Delhi, India, they had a problem. They had a problem, I said. Thankfully, it's over now. The local police were finally able to pin down a notorious thief, a kid with a highly disturbing escape routine. So let me go ahead and tell you about this kid. According to the story, the thief goes by the name of Deepak. Young guy. Only 27 years old. He's a cell phone thief. Now, according to the police over that away, this Deepak kid has been on the run for a while. The cops knew who he was. They just needed to catch him, beat him unmercifully, and then close the case. But Deepak evaded capture over and over and over again because of a special and absolutely terrible talent he has going for him. And here it is. Right when the cops were about to get their hands on him, this happened on a few occasions. Right when they thought they had him right where they want him, Deepak would spray diarrhea into the back of his own pants. This kid's like part skunk or something. This was his defense mechanism. He would diarrhea himself. And according to the story, the smell he would create was so brutal that the cops would have to back off, and Deepak would make his way out of trouble and on his way to his next cell phone heist. So the kid could deuce on command. I've never heard of that.
Like Africa's poop sprinkler, the hippopotamus. How when they're defending themselves, they'll spray out turds and then use their tail as a poop spinning fan to come right at you.
Is that a factor?
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that.
This guy has that talent.
Very interesting.
I wish I could go when I wanted to.
Yeah, I bet you do. I've never heard of this. It's horrible. And I'm kind of doubting it, but let's go ahead anyway.
Does seem a little out there.
Well, there's something or another at the end of the story. We'll get there. For now, we'll go along with it. And I'm going to go this way. They mention that the odor that Deepak could produce was beyond disgusting. So then my next question is, did Deepak have a special diet to make his feces smoke screen that much more effective? He just eats nothing but onions and whatever. Liver. And the local cops unoriginally, disappointingly, referred to Deepak's escape method as the, quote, poop and run. Again, sit down and think about this before you make that public. But anyway, the cops, right after I was done criticizing their lack of creativity, the cops aren't the cops for no damn good reason. They've got some brilliant minds working for them over there at the police station. So they came up with a plan. And it worked. The next time they saw Deepak in town, they grabbed him, they pinned him down, and right on time, Deepak used his diarrhea defense mode. Pow! He blasted the back of his pants. But this time, the cops were fully armored up, wearing gloves and masks, Deepak's special powers were useless, and they cuffed this disgusting little prick bastard. They put on the hazmat suits, Cubby.
Yuck. Gosh.
So stupid.
Deepak,
yeah.
He confessed to multiple cell phone thefts, and he even confessed to some knife-related crimes in the neighborhood. And the story closes out like this here. They say, we know this sounds like nonsense, but it's apparently a real news story in India about a thief and his awful, awful superpower.
Usually you give us an update, especially when it's a cop-related story about the new guy. New guy do anything here?
That's the problem. There are no new guys on staff.
Oh, it's all veterans?
All veteran cops. Or else I certainly would have given you a heads up on how the new guy handled this, yeah.
Because the new guy, tasers work at what? 21 feet? Or I'm sure a cop could tell us. Like the veteran, he tases the dude, stops him from running, and the new guy would have to put on the hazmat suit and go bring him to justice. Who's got to drive him, though?
Oh, yeah. Put some plastic down.
Tie him to the top.
Just get him a van, bring in the van, right? Not a regular squad with cloth or leather seats. Just get some kind of an old van to throw him in, and he can make all the messes he wants. He can wash it up with a hose. Now, I'm sorry to continue with this terrible human feces theme, but it's our job to try and keep our listening audience informed. And if doo-doo pies is what's happening, then by God, we're going to let you know about doo-doo pies. God forbid you walk out of your house today unaware of what's going on out there. You become the victim of some type of fecal assault. We'd feel awful about that. So we're going to keep going with this. I don't want any of our listeners, Josh, taking a wet one across the jaw or anything when they walk out their front door.
No.
So this is important information.
You got to get that out there.
A few years ago, at a joint called Disney California Adventure, some kind of effing fun park, they had to go ahead and close down a ride because of a third, quote, pooping incident. That's how they put it here in the report. A third pooping incident. They had to up and close a Guardians in the Galaxy themed ride because some repulsive animal-like derelict kept dropping coilers in the area where folks line up for the ride. Word is the smell was, quote, noticeable. So, this is the third time this month that someone has cut a cigar while in line for the Guardians in the Galaxy ride. And the loaf that got them to finally close the ride there a couple days ago was the second random blind eel of the day. 2 number 2s dropped in roughly the same spot in one day for the love of our Lord and Savior Jesus H. Cripes. So 3 in a month, 2 in a day.
I guess those lines can get pretty long.
That's my thought, right? It'd be a kid that's waiting in a long line. At least that's my hope, is that's all it is, as gross as it is.
Your positive outlook is commendable, Josh, but there's no way this is just a kid with a stomach ache. 3 times in a month, 2 times in a day?
Possible. There's a lot of people that go through there.
Yeah, I think it's a different person every time.
Yeah, but
don't take that away from me.
I'm sorry.
Don't make me think that's a same person doing that.
I want to drag you into the darkness. There's no way that 3 separate people or the same person would do that without alerting anybody, without saying, hey, look, sorry. Or a parent, hey, sorry, my kid dropped a friggin' turd on the ground. So all of them have just ran away from it? I find that hard to believe.
Maybe it's a more concealed location in the line, like it's around a corner. And
we don't know.
It's got to be, right? Otherwise, other people would say, hey, that dude is pooping right there.
Yeah, right.
So you guys really think this is innocent?
I don't know.
Well, I
hope you're right.
My assumption would be it's a kid.
Yeah.
Oh, my assumption right away that it was some sick maniac who's playing with himself while making a turn. Maybe it's all how you're raised, maybe. As you might imagine.
That's a more interesting story if it's just the same dude that decides that's where he wants to.
Yeah, that's what I'm...
Maybe it's a take on his feelings on the movie.
Yeah. I don't know. Not at all yesterday. While I was editing this story, did I think it was innocent, but maybe that says more something about me. As you might imagine, the staff there at the fun park has had to get out the fire hoses and wash the area upside down, health and safety protocols and all that cubby. Well,
I've definitely had to pee pretty bad in some of those lines. I think, I'd give up my spot. I'd let a few people go ahead of me if there's just a porta potty sitting there.
Here's the way this story ends now. It says the folks at the fun park have vowed to catch the sumbitch that keeps planting corn at the beloved family-friendly joint that they got going on over there. So they must think it's some evil, sick bastard if they're vowing to catch them.
Well, catch whoever it is, yeah.
A listener texted in, and they must go to Disney quite often because they said that this happens often, like at specifically the Guardians of the Galaxy ride, the Avatar ride, Rise of the Resistance ride, because the wait times can be up to like 3 hours.
Yeah, that's what the texts are saying, that it does happen.
Okay, so
I would just leave line.
I guess I got to drag my mind out of the gutter.
Well, it's possible. I guess there's a part of me that hopes it's just a kid, but there's also a part of me, because it's insane, that it's just the same particular random dude doing that.
If this is your child, though, there's no way you allow your child to do such a thing, and then you say, okay, Junior, come on back over here. We don't want to lose our place in line. But maybe I'm underestimating how demented some parents could be.
That's how I would be like, well, I guess we're going to have to either get back in line or go on something else.
You would take your child out of line.
I would, yeah.
And make your child do the right thing, which is go to the bathroom in a private place. But I guess I'm underestimating how some parents must be so stupid and so selfish that they'd allow their child to cut a turd on the ground in public and then get back in line so they can go on a stupid amusement park ride.
God, that would suck so much if you're sitting in line for 2.5 hours and then your kid's like, actually, I really have to go to the bathroom. Oh, that would be so devastating.
Oh, I thought of a more fun way this could be happening. It's a dude, let's say he just brings it in a plastic baggie and then he spills it out as he's waiting there.
Sure. All right.
You picked him up, you dropped him, Jesus said. They've got cameras everywhere. They could probably find that person.
Well,
that's a good point.
You would have thought that would have been mentioned in the article, though.
Yeah.
I'm sure they do have cameras everywhere, but they're on the lookout for this sumbitch. So, that's the whole bulk of the story, is they're looking for the culprit. So I would imagine they've tried the cameras and they couldn't quite get the look that they were anticipating. I'll try to think more positively when these stories come around. I immediately thought it must have been somebody out of their mind.
Mountain Mayhem Jesus recommends just handing them diapers before you get in there.
Everyone wears a set of Depends?
Could be.
3 hours. 3 hours?
Yeah, that sounds awful.
There is no amusement park ride that I'm waiting in line for longer than 20 minutes.
Unless it's like a 5-hour ride, I don't really see a point.
Let's think you're done in a minute, right?
Yeah.
If the Guardians in the Galaxy ride is really going to take me to space, then I might stand for 3 hours. Other than that, are you kidding me? And my kids certainly haven't earned that, ungrateful bastards.
Yeah, and
I'm picturing that if I had children, they would be ungrateful little peckerheads.
That place isn't cheap.
All right. Everyone's got their thoughts here on our text machine about who's cutting logs over there at the Disney World or whatever the hell it is. Let's dial it back a notch. Let's talk number one skis. We've done all we can with the number twos. Let's go the other way, number ones. Some poor hippie bastard in Portland, Oregon, he says someone or another keeps leaving gallons of whiz in his recycling bin. Big old bottles of, he showed the local news cameras 8 large water bottles and juice jugs that are all filled smooth up with human squeege.
So I went to open the blue bin, and lo and behold, there was a nice deposit of gallon-sized bottles of urine. Please stop. Please, just don't do it anymore.
Josh, if we celebrated, how should I say this? You know the story of the folks cutting turds at Disneyland?
Mm-hmm.
If we celebrated all those turds today, what would the holiday be called today?
April Stools Day?
That's right. Ask me about CrossFit Jesus. Wants to play Word version 2 real quick. Word version 2 coming soon
2.
to the Half-Assed Morning Show. Again, this guy, there he was right there. He comes around the corner on his property, and he keeps finding giant jugs of human urine in his recycling. Says it's been happening for 6 months.
What makes this story great is looking at the pictures of the jugs of urine.
Oh, yeah, those things are filled to the brim.
Because I thought, all right, what is this guy doing? Just peeing in the trash? Oh, there's huge jugs of urine.
Yeah, they're large.
There's one I'm concerned about. It's way too orange.
Oh.
That person.
Yeah, I see.
That person needs a doctor.
Other than this being bizarre as all hell, dude says he's left hanging on to these piss jugs because the recycling service won't take them away because, quote, urine is a biohazard. So he's got them all stacked up in his garage.
Uh-oh. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not throwing away urine, but what about, like, dog poop and stuff?
Well, do you put dog poop in your recycling?
Not the recycling.
Yeah, they'll take it in the garbage, as my dad used to say, the garbage. But according to the story, you can't put piss or feces in your recycling bucket because it's a biohazard. So now this guy has wised up. He stopped putting his recycling bin out of doors, and that stopped the madness. Fat jugs of piss were no longer left on his property. But now the jugs are showing up in his neighbor's recycling bin. So this anonymous king of the trucker bombs isn't given up yet. There is surveillance footage. You know, everyone's got the cameras on their houses now.
Yep.
There is surveillance footage of a man leaving the pee-filled bottles in the bins. He drives up in a car. He places the bottles in the bins, and then he peels on out of there. But it says here that the video is too grainy to make out who it is or the vehicle's license plate. The local cops say that it is a crime, and they're looking into it.
Yeah, it would freak me out. Just the mind of a person who would do something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you get his quote on audio? His famous quote?
That's the only one I got.
Oh, because from what I heard, the poor dude who was originally dealing with receiving a stranger's piss bottles in his recycling bin every week, he talked to the local television news and asked the pee bottle maker to knock it off, and apparently a direct quote, he said on the news, "This guy's really pissing me off," which is hilarious, of course. Pissing me off, he said.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
All right,
yeah. That would be frustrating. Of course, the alligator state. There's always somebody or another down there acting like a friggin' moron. Here we have a couple who got busted for folding each other in half on a grave at a local cemetery.
That's not right.
Not just disrespectful, but that's how hauntings happen, right? You piss off an evil spirit.
Gosh,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I even get stressed out when I go to a funeral and you have to walk to the grave site, that they're being buried at, and you can't help but accidentally step over other graves. I'm like, I'm going to hell. This is it.
Yeah, I basically play hopscotch on my way to graves just to make sure I don't step on one. But yeah, it's like a horror movie, right? Some people, starts out, a couple has sex on a grave, then that vengeful spirit comes out and it kills everyone having sex.
Especially the young teenage kids.
Yeah, it's always the teenagers.
Yeah. Yeah, a couple busted for folding each other's brains out on a grave at a local cemetery. When I first read the headline, I thought to myself, yeah, goth kids. They like to bump. But I was wrong. These aren't horny goth kids, just drug addicts, that's all. Drug addicts. Word is a state trooper and his canine stopped at the neighborhood cemetery the other day, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Just parked there to take a break, the two of them, the trooper and his canine. The trooper spotted a car parked in front of the cemetery with the windows down and no one in the damn thing. And that's when he and his canine spotted a white male and female just pile driving each other on top of a grave.
I'm going to give you 15 minutes to knock that off.
After the trooper and his dog both suddenly vomited at what they had witnessed, they let the two drug addicts stumble back to their car and mercifully put their clothes back on. And, of course, they had illegal and dangerous street drugs in the car. Always in the car. Now, I'm very interested in this portion of the story. It says here, the man, out of the couple that were having sex on top of the grave, it says here, the man had suffered a leg injury and was transported to the hospital. Oh, yeah? How'd the leg injury happen? Sex injury stories are fun to tell. I would imagine even in the drug addict community, they enjoy a good sex injury story. So I wonder what happened to Brother Man. How
I'd like to know, too. Yeah, I mean...
Was it just maybe a cramp in his calf?
Or running from the cops, maybe? But if it was an actual sex... those cramps in the middle of coitus.
I want to believe he hurt himself while having sex.
That'd be more fun.
Yeah. But the cramps in the middle of sex, or as you put it, coitus, they'll get you dancing around the bedroom. That's probably the only time you can dance, Josh.
And it's also the only time I ever make noise while making love.
Right.
Is that when I'm screaming in pain because something cramped up.
Right. You don't make a sound.
No,
This is
not
so
a sound.
awkward.
A good sex injury story is always fun to hear. If you've got one, 651-989-9393.
Outside of the hucklebuck, nothing. Never fell off a bed. Nobody ever hit their head on a headboard or anything like that.
Oh, I've had a few crashes, but I can't say other than the buckle.
I've had my jaw lock up, and that was terrifying.
Oh, what were you doing?
For everybody, I'd imagine? Or
No, that
for
wasn't
everybody in
because
the
of
room?
that. No, it locked open, first of all. But
Everybody on the bus was horrified?
no, it was just from having my face pressed against
the window
bed.
of the bus? I'm sorry, Ashley. You're going to punch one of us.
The window of the bus.
That would hurt.
You had a case of lockjaw because your face was being pressed up against the what?
The bed.
The bed.
It hurt so bad. Oh, my gosh. It was so terrifying.
Wait. All right, maybe I don't want to know.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Just ask the
No,
question.
I'm not even... it's out of my mind.
Well, sometimes you get your face pressed down into the bed.
Yeah, I can't figure out how that happens. Is somebody pressing it?
Yeah, they're pressing on your face.
They do that?
Yeah, they do that.
Like they put their hand on your head.
Yes.
Like the side of your head, and they just push your face right into
Yes.
Are they trying to kill you?
No, they're trying to keep you in place. That's the position you're in right now is working so well. I want to make sure you don't go anywhere. So I'll press or maybe she'll press my face into the, hold still, you dumb bastard, that kind of a thing.
People
right?
know about this?
What?
Yeah.
People know about
Everybody knows about
I think this is a
I didn't
common
know
one.
about this. It's common?
Yeah.
It's very common.
You guys are gross.
You stupid bastard, don't you move. I've had women say to me, so they press me, down into the...
Eat sheet.
Yeah.
That would be so funny.
And she got lockjaw.
Oh, my gosh.
How much does that hurt? Is that pretty painful, or is it just... Or maybe it doesn't hurt, I guess. I don't know.
It's really painful.
Ugh.
Yeah, and
I'm sorry.
It's scary because have you guys ever tweaked your neck and then you get afraid to move?
Oh, yeah.
It's that feeling.
You get that burning nerve kind of a thing when your neck... I used to do that all the time. When I'd turn to the right or left too fast, you get that shot of pain. It feels like a burn. So there was no doctors on the bus?
No, there's no doctors. I did come pretty close to calling somebody. 'Cause it only lasted, I guess, for about 20 minutes, which is pretty short.
Oh,
in the
that
grand
is not.
scheme of things.
No, it's not.
20 minutes.
That is
But
not short, Ashley.
I thought this is it.
Sex doesn't even last that long.
Yeah, exactly. I thought this is it. My jaw's never going to go back to normal. And then I was afraid that if I tried too hard to put it back to normal, that it was just going to, like, I don't know, collapse on itself.
Somebody's offered to hold my face down. No, I'm not. I'm a little more boring than that. Whole frog protection, Jesus said, Ashley, with your lockjaw story, he's picturing you looking like a shocked F doll. You would.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Just that wide open. You're not going to let any woman press your friggin' face into the mattress, huh, Cubby?
Well, I mean, if that's really what she wanted to do, but I'd be confused. And
But she slaps you a little bit, too.
I don't want that. But, you know, I'm a people person, so if that's what she needs.
Jesus, Ashley. So nowhere on the bus was there a doctor when you got lockjaw. Did they pull the bus over?
Yeah, they did at least.
They pulled it over?
Took a little break.
I hope the bus was parked and there wasn't a driver.
That's what makes it fun, Josh.
Sex injuries, huh? Yeah.
A lot of people are texting in with cramps.
Yeah. You know, I'm looking for something a little more dramatic than that. You know, like this cool-ass dude I used to work at the car wash with. How many years ago was this now? 33 years ago in St. Cloud, Minnesota. He came into work with a cast on his arm. And so, of course, we're all naturally curious. What happened? And he said, I fell off the couch while banging my old lady. And in that moment, I was, you know how Beavis and Butthead, whenever their cool friend Todd would do something, little hearts would bubble above their heads because they were in love with Todd. They thought Todd was the coolest guy. I looked at that coworker of mine at the car wash as the coolest guy in town when he told me that he had broken his arm falling off the bed while banging his wife.
I remember hearing from older kids about sex stories where I looked at them the same way. Like, wow, that's the coolest.
Yeah, nothing. I can't think of any damn thing.
Scaffolding Jeebus wanted to know, Nick, if you or I had surgery for the Hucklebuck. No, I did have it looked at a series of times by a medical professional on a bus. He operated out of a bus. He said that they skinned his, quote, like a banana. Thank God I didn't have to go that.
What do you mean? They cut him open?
I guess.
Oh, because he hurt it so badly.
You poor thing. Oh.
No, I never had it looked at. I mean, I remember the worst buckle I ever experienced, and, you know, I was young, and I thought, well, that's it. I killed it. But things continued on. So, no, I never had a doctor. I never asked a doctor about it.
That's kind of one of those things, the Hucklebuck, where it's like when you're a teenager and somebody says the cops are around. You know, it's the same thing where you're like, wait, everybody be quiet. Just wait. Nobody move. Right. You're trying to assess the damage.
Yeah.
What's going on? You don't want anybody making any sudden movements.
Yep.
Keep it down.
That's absolutely true.
You're listening for other bad noises. So the guy that or girl that texted in and said that they're willing to hold my face down after I read the text went, woohoo! Hey, Mom, I made the radio. You sent in a funny text.
Have someone press your adorable face into the mattress next time you get a chance.
I don't want that, though.
All right. Ashley, we tried.
We tried. Can't say we didn't.
We're trying to add just a little bit of PG-rated adventure into his sex life, and the sumbitch won't go for it. All right. Here's a listener whose boyfriend got stuck in their sex swing last week.
Wait, a guy can get in one of those?
Definitely.
Is there anything you know about sex?
Well, wait, a guy can get... I mean, I thought the girl went there so you could adjust her.
Sure, but the guy can get in there too, so the gal can spin him around, punch him in the face, press his face into the mattress. What do you? Anyone can get in the sex swing.
I didn't know.
Gender neutral.
It is?
Yeah.
Gender neutral is what it is.
That's cool that they got a sex swing, though.
How do you hang that from the top of a... Cat 6 Jesus said he feels horrible about this, but he accidentally... He gave a black eye to a lovely lady in the middle of the sex act.
Oh, dude, yeah.
He said limbs get out of control sometimes.
Elbows and knees, and I'll tell you, the inadvertent headbutts. Oof.
Oh, gosh, yeah. You have to stop and laugh for a second when you accidentally headbutt each other.
Was there a doctor on the bus is the first thing I said.
This person says on his wife and his anniversary night, they decided to play a little lifeguard. He went to grab a towel from the bathroom, slipped, and broke his toe on the door frame. Oh, I'm sorry that happened. I'm not laughing at you. I heard a joke on my way in. It was about a bus.
All right, before we go, appreciate you sending in your sex injury stories. We could always use them. 651-989-9393. San Francisco, Josh, have you been there?
I have not. It seems like some place that people like. Our boss lived there and said it is grossly unaffordable.
Well, one of my oldest friends lives there, and he's lived there for years, and he just hates it.
Oh, really? What doesn't he like about it? Is it really busy? I mean, I don't know a ton about it.
I believe his number one complaint about the city is the crime. Crime.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Said it's just brutal. Anyway. Says here now, one of the most popular tourist attractions in San Francisco is Lombard Street, which is called the crookedest street in the world. Well, by damn, crooked streets may start becoming more common everywheres. Word is, in the suburbs, they want everybody to slow the F down. How about Philadelphia? You been there?
I have, for, I think, 2 hours.
Oh, that was the Metallica concert.
Yeah, there was a pop-up Metallica show. We were, I don't remember if we were 93X or at the Edge at the time. We drove out there. 2 tickets later, we got there. We only caught 4 songs, got a cheesesteak, turned around and came back home.
I at least got the cheesesteak.
What a nightmare. I remember I was invited to go on that trip. And other than Josh, who I enjoyed, I thought, you're going to put me in a friggin' radio station van with a bunch of people that I can't stand, with the exception of Josh, of course. And we're going to go all the way to Philadelphia and back? You'd have to put a friggin' rifle to my head to get me to do that.
I had a boss. So we were running late, and one of the bosses was in the van and said, hey, you got to speed. And I said, well, you got the wrong guy. I'll go 4 over, but that's about it. And he said, no, you got to. I'll tell you what, if we get pulled over, the station will pay for the ticket.
Mm-hmm.
We got pulled over.
Mm-hmm.
Probably 10 minutes after that. And then I get back to the station, our general manager at the time, the most corporate general manager we've ever had. Oh, so we must have been the Edge. And he's like, no, we can't pay for that. It's illegal. We can't support something like that.
Money.
So I was stuck paying that ticket.
No one else that you were driving, of course, volunteered to pay for that ticket.
Oh, no.
Or help you pay for the ticket.
Yeah, the boss who said you got to speed.
Right. No.
Nothing.
They escaped any responsibility there. So there's a street in Philadelphia that's using a new zigzagging pattern. The road itself isn't different, but the lines were repainted so the lanes are wavy. Both the double yellow line in the middle of the street and the white lines on the outside of the lane. Wavy like this here. I'm doing this motion with my hand to indicate waves to try to get people to slow down. So you're not going straight, you're going weaving to the right and you're weaving to the left and you're weaving. If you're remaining between the lines, that's what they're doing, and the idea is to slow everybody the hell down. Everyone in the neighborhood is confused. They think it's stupid. They're saying, well, why didn't you just put up why didn't you just put in speed bumps or signs or flashing lights? But no, they went with this zigzag waving approach, and they say other neighborhoods are interested in going with this routine.
Doesn't it look like they're trying to hide the fact that the line painter was hammered?
Yeah, definitely.
It doesn't look like it was on purpose.
No, it does not.
Usually those streets are there's so much thought that goes into planners that they do so much thinking on this stuff. It doesn't look like they did here.
I would throw up.
You posted that, didn't you, Ashley?
Yeah, I did.
Check it out on our website if my description didn't do you any favors, but it's a zigzag pattern. And they're sticking with it for now, even though the whole neighborhood is wondering what the hell gives with this idea. I'm a slow down guy. I also want everyone to slow down. Not necessarily on the highways and interstates. If you want to become an organ donor because, driving fast makes your little pee-pee feel bigger in your pants, that's your problem. I get pissed off when folks drive fast on neighborhood streets. That gets on my effing nerves. Because I'll tell you this, if you run over a dog in my neighborhood because you're driving too fast, I'm going to pull you out of your car and give you a patented Kenny Omega one-winged angel right there on the sidewalk.
I get tailgated for going about 5 under on our road. There's always people behind me tailgating.
Your neighborhood road?
In my neighborhood. It's very windy, and so you can't really see around the corners or the curves, I should say.
So you go slow?
Yeah, about 5 under. It seems enough. Sometimes a little less. If there's nobody behind me, I'll go even less than that. But there's always people walking dogs.
Yeah.
You don't have sidewalks.
I don't even know this.
There's kids that are too dumb not to be in the middle of the street. So
yeah, I crawl. I don't even know what the standard speed limit is on a neighborhood street. Doesn't matter to me. I crawl. I go as slow as possible because you're in a friggin' neighborhood. I'm not looking, like Josh said, to run over a kid or a cat or a dog. So that's what pisses me off. You can go as fast as you want on the interstate. That's your friggin' problem. But the jag-offs that go 45 down a neighborhood road, I'm going to throw a baseball through their friggin' front windshield.
There's kids, for God's sakes.
So anyway, look for zigzag patterns, maybe, coming to your town.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
They're counting down the pitch clock to Ray. Walks him on 4. The violation could well be living in his head.
I was wondering when a fan base would take advantage of that friggin' pitch clock in that manner. Reds fans at their ball game the other day heckling the San Francisco Giants pitcher by counting down that pitch clock louder than hell and 5 seconds faster than the clock actually showed.
Yeah, it's a good bit.
To try to get in the guy's head and have him think, oh, God, I got to deliver this pitch. Just like they do in college basketball with the shot clock.
I love that everybody got involved.
It sounded like everybody in the entire arena.
That's funny.
They don't call it an arena. It's a stadium. That's funny stuff. Okay, I'll get the hell out of your way here before you know it. But first, we were asking our listening audience to text in and tell us about their sex injuries. What the hell happened to you? 651-989-9393. Josh, I figured you'd get a kick out of this one. A listener says a gal was up on top skis. Can you follow how that works?
Oh, yeah, sure.
I think they call it the cowgirl.
Yep.
She's up on top.
Like
Ashley?
Sorry, I'm trying to figure out our website right now.
Don't bother trying to figure out our website. Gal on top. Our listener says he was keeping good time. He was keeping good time. And he figured he would throw an ass slap into the mix, right?
Uh-oh.
Kind of reach around, give her a little slap on the... And he ended up slapping himself in his own testicles.
Oh, ouch.
He hit himself. I just hit myself in the balls, he said.
That's impressive, I guess.
Oh, God.
That's a combination of a small butt and big balls, I guess. And bad aim.
Probably right, yeah. Inaccurate slap. Well, everyone seemed willing to cut the Twins some slack yesterday before they went out and got ripped to shreds by the White Sox by a final of 9-0. We'll see where Randy Shaver stands on it today. Yesterday, he was very forgiving. And coming up at 7:30, we'll talk to Randy Shaver and Glen Perkins, color commentator for the Twins. See what he has to say about this terrible, terrible start to the season. 9-0? Or was it, what was it?
Yeah, I think it was 9-0.
Rocco! Oh. The Pigs were able to drag a point out of last night's game in New Jersey, but they lost in one of those silly high school shootouts. The Minnesota Fighting Timberwolves play in Colorado tonight against the Nuggets. We'll cover all kinds of things here in a half hour, but don't go anywhere on us because Josh's news report's coming up next.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Nice.
93X. Nice. Well, there's my beautiful podcast, people. Everybody good? All right, great to hear. Thanks, as always, for listening to the podcast. And, of course, thanks to our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning for making it all possible. Can we believe it's April already? And like the old saying goes, April showers brings gross, disgusting humidity and heat in May. Beat the heat and the summer rush. Have Standard Heating and Air Conditioning out to work on that AC soon. April is the best month to get your air conditioning wrenched on before the huge summer rush starts. So get on that today. Go to standardheating.com and schedule that AC tune-up. Thanks for listening. We love you podcasters. Enjoy the show.
This is Women's Work with Nicole Khalil.
I would rather have the temporary pain of discomfort than the avoidable pain of regret. There are too many of us that we're waiting for someday, and the clock is ticking.
Redefining what it means to be doing women's work.
Make sense of this wild, chaotic, and beautiful world and your place in it. That
is woman's work.
This is Woman's Work from Believe. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Isn't that a religious show? With all the Jesus and Sheezus talk?
Oh, hell no.
Just kidding. They suck.
This sentencing will not remove the sting of what occurred, nor the violation of the trust. We continue moving forward and let hope take the lead rather than fear.
Oh, this is a gross one. A New Jersey school janitor is heading to prison after admitting to a series of disturbing acts involving cafeteria utensils and food meant for both students and staff, and then recording himself doing it.
This serves to remind us there are bad people out there, bad people who have no consideration for others.
The case against...
What's this guy shouting at us for?
He's mad about what happened,
Okay.
and I think you will be as
All
well.
right.
We did talk about this story, but now he's been sentenced. It's against a 25-year-old, and it began in the fall of 2023. That's when the case began. School officials received alarming tips about videos circulating on social media. In them, he was seen wiping his balls, schlong, and anus on kitchen utensils.
My damn.
Spitting on slices of bread, and then
spit.
returning them to containers used to serve food to students. One video showed him spraying bleach on cucumbers. Others captured him masturbating and then urinating on school property, including pillows and bowls used in the cafeteria.
He's existing in this, I don't know, shadow world of depravity.
I'll make a Randy Shaver intro saying that.
Depravity.
Social media users, they saved the footage and passed it along to the school, who quickly notified police. At Friday's sentencing, a parent described the trauma and discussed their child experience after learning what had happened at their school.
I thought my child was safe. She wasn't. It's very overwhelming because you want to keep your kids safe.
He addressed the court with an apology, saying there was no excuse for his actions.
I feel very bad about it. I wish I could go back in time and not do it, but it's done now, and I realize I have to pay for it.
That's him, huh?
That's the guy.
He sounds like he's off.
Yep.
He looks off, everything.
Ah.
He was sentenced to 8 years in prison where he can masturbate freely.
Yeah, I suppose he can. Wow, that's really disturbing stuff. You
Yeah.
have no idea, but your child is using a spoon at lunchtime that some dude had in his can.
Yeah, he put a ladle up there. He went for it.
Oh, no.
A 48-year-old woman from Pennsylvania is facing serious accusations after stealing nearly $150,000 from a youth sports league and then spending it on concerts, high-end shopping sprees, and personal bills.
Sounds like fun.
Carla O'Brien, who served as treasurer for the Fox Chapel Area Baseball Softball Association, was arrested Thursday after authorities said she funneled league funds into her own pockets over a 5-year stretch. She began siphoning money not long after taking on the treasurer role in 2019. But the scheme unraveled last summer when she was voted out and replaced. Her refusal to hand over the financial records raised red flags, and when the new treasurer threatened to go directly to the bank, the truth began to surface.
I mean, I'm shocked. Like, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate because that takes directly away from the kids themselves.
Parents pay a lot of money for their kids to play sports here. Like, that's really insane that they would do something like that.
By September, she came clean to association members, admitting she started stealing after a car accident left both her and her husband out of work. She said she was in a rough spot and returned about $3,500 of the stolen $150,000. But prosecutors say the damage was done. The funds meant to support local kids in baseball and softball were instead spent at places like Sephora, Amazon, Nike, TJ Maxx, Target, and more. She also used the money to dine out, shop for pets, hit up concert venues, and pay off some credit cards. Her poor husband is understandably embarrassed, but the fact that he's a lieutenant with the Pittsburgh Police Department makes it especially awkward.
Dude.
O'Brien is expected to appear in court again at the end of the month.
He had no idea, huh? The husband?
It sounds that way, yeah.
He had no friggin' idea.
So far, it seems people are believing he didn't know.
Boy, that softball, baseball league or whatever you call it had a few bucks on them.
Yeah. I mean, just the fact that $150,000 could go missing and nobody noticed it until 5 years later she's kicked out. A Utah man's facing charges after he strolled into a restaurant carrying a gun and absolutely nothing else, not even socks. He was naked. According to witnesses, the man was flexing his muscles aggressively and following people around, naked and armed. Police later found 24-year-old Ralph Lorette in the middle of the street, still proudly in his birthday suit, no pants, no shame. He was completely naked when he was taken into custody and placed in a patrol car, the police report read. More than a dozen witnesses spotted him doing his impromptu one-man show at the restaurant and a nearby park where, again, cops said he had a gun.
This is probably ridiculous of me, but I would be more weirded out if he did have socks on. Everything naked and then socks? That's a little more unhinged. I don't know why.
Just go for it?
Yeah,
Commit.
You're already there.
Yeah, the flexing would also be awful strange. If you've recently seen a Facebook post asking you to be on the lookout for a missing police officer, hold off on your detective hat because police say it's a scam. Law enforcement agencies across the country are warning the post is a hoax that's being shared in different cities with slight changes to make it seem local, with police around the country saying it appears to be part of a larger scam designed to go viral and mislead the public.
This is a scam post. People will post the image and change the hashtag to whatever local city they can so it garners shares. Then they'll change any attachments to hacking links or fraudulent pleas.
The photo of the cop is of a real officer. It's not just not one who's missing. She's Sergeant Katie Cunningham of the Great Falls Police Department in Montana. According to their very much not missing persons report, she's alive, well, and working at the high school as a school resource officer. They also had some fun with the inaccuracies, noting that the photo is over 10 years old, shows the wrong rank, and Sergeant Cunningham is 5'3" and, quote, very petite. Also, a silver alert is meant for missing seniors, which she most definitely is not. Yeah, they said the woman was a lot taller and a lot heavier. Police are asking folks not to share the post and to always fact-check stories like this before hitting share.
So they would modify the picture depending on where they're trying to pull the scams.
Well, they used the same picture, but the real cop is much shorter. They said the other cop was like 5'10", 160-some pounds. They say, no, she's only 5'3" and pretty tiny. And they'd say, hey, can you contribute a couple of bucks to help us out, that kind of thing. And some folks, good-meaning folks fell for it. Sunday night started with a few drinks and some flirtation for a Florida woman. She went out with a Miami-Dade cop who lived in the same apartment building she was a leasing agent at. He figured the night was over after he dropped her off, but it was not. At some point, she managed to get back into his apartment using a key fob, snagged his car keys, and took his unmarked patrol car for a joyride. And to rub it in, she even texted him a selfie from the driver's seat. He told her to bring his car back, which she did. But when he came to retrieve his keys, she tossed him to the floor and followed up by throwing her phone at his head, leaving a small cut. According to the officer, he never gave her permission to enter his apartment or take his vehicle, certainly. He admitted they were banging, but said that it wasn't a relationship. She later confessed to swiping the keys and the car, and her romantic evening ended in jail.
Why the hell did she do all this?
I don't know. He couldn't figure it out. He said the date was fine.
They had sex?
I don't know if they did that night, but they had in the past. Maybe that's it. Maybe he said he was tired and she wasn't going to take that. It would be kind of fun to take a cop car up, but she took pictures of it. Why all these people, like the dude that was masturbating and putting things in his butt, took pictures of it.
Yeah, he took a lot of pictures.
A really dumb police chase in Tennessee last week ended when the suspects pulled over, not to surrender, but to air up the tires in their getaway car after thinking they escaped police. They did not. Officers noticed a car with a Tennessee temporary tag obscured by a smoked-out license plate cover Friday. When they tried to pull the vehicle over, the driver hit the gas. That chase didn't last long. It came to an anticlimactic end when officers tracked the suspects down at a gas station with two criminal geniuses calmly filling their tires with air. A search of the vehicle turned up a large bag of weed in the center console, along with a backpack containing more marijuana, 2 digital scales, plastic not babies, but baggies, and 2 marijuana vape pens. Telltale signs of a couple of dudes who like to party. The duo was taken into custody without incident. They thought they made a clean getaway.
Thought they had some time to air up the tires, but no.
Not the case. A 37-year-old man was arrested Friday night after causing a scene outside a Florida bar, waving a gun in the air and claiming it was cool because he's a cop. He's not a cop. Witnesses say that Antoine Robinson was standing in front of the Whiskey Exchange when he suddenly pulled out a firearm and began waving it around. Things got bad quick when he got into a heated argument with a bystander and allegedly said, "I'm a cop, I can have this." But according to police, he's not a law enforcement officer. And what's more, the spot where the incident took place is off limits for firearms. The Whiskey Exchange is classified as an establishment where alcohol is the main business, making it a prohibited area for carrying weapons.
Oh, is that how that works?
At least there. Maybe here too, I don't know.
Word.
Robinson was taken into custody by the real cops shortly after the altercation.
How did he explain that to the crowd?
I bet he kept his mouth shut at that point.
How did he explain that to all of his fans?
Yeah. A 56-year-old woman in Poland has been arrested for poisoning her coworkers' drinks over the course of several weeks simply because she didn't like her. The victim, a 51-year-old woman, began feeling seriously ill a few months ago. At first, she chalked it up to the persistent stomach pain due to stress and exhaustion she thought she was feeling. But as her condition worsened, she went to the hospital. That's when doctors gave her a shocking diagnosis. She had internal injuries consistent with prolonged exposure to toxic substances. That revelation triggered a memory, the odd bitter taste in her morning tea. Determined to get to the bottom of it, she installed a hidden camera at her desk. What she captured was her 56-year-old coworker calmly spraying cleaning agents and corrosive chemicals into her drinks when no one was watching. Police moved quickly and arrested the suspect within hours. But she wasn't acting entirely alone. Investigators found out that a 68-year-old woman that she had been on the phone with during the poisonings was encouraging her to do so. That woman admitted she knew what was going on and said nothing. When police, while they haven't officially disclosed the motive, sources close to the investigation say it boils down to a petty workplace resentment. The victim reportedly held a slightly more senior role, and the suspects, who didn't like her, wanted her out.
Just didn't like her.
Authorities say the investigation is still active, and there may be others involved. This lady was not popular at work.
Not everybody's going to like you. Even Cubby. There's some people in this building that don't like him.
Oh, that's hard to believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Name 5.
Well, there's Donnie.
Oh, no.
Other Donnie.
Oh, gosh. Not other Donnie.
Derek.
Wait, that's our boss.
Me and Dana.
Oh. This has been
Is that 5?
This has been a very hurtful morning for me.
Notice how I was not on the list?
I appreciate that, Ashley. What was meant to be a fun day at Universal's Volcano Bay Water Park suddenly erupted when a rock slammed into an employee's back. Police say a guest hurled a rock at an unsuspecting employee, leaving him injured and landing herself in serious legal trouble. According to the Orlando Police Department, officers responded to a call Thursday from the park security team about an assault. When they arrived, they found Andrew Carson, a Volcano Bay employee who described a strange and sudden attack. Carson said he was going about his duties when he heard a woman shout, "Hey!" moments before a rock greeted into his back. Slamming it to it unprovoked, he told officers that he didn't know the woman. He hadn't spoken to her and certainly hadn't done anything to provoke the incident. While details about his injuries haven't been released, police confirmed he was hurt. The woman accused of throwing the rock has been identified as a 28-year-old from Michigan. As of now, police said there's no clear motive behind that assault.
What the hell was she doing?
Yeah, I don't know. They're trying to figure out what the heck happened there. A 24-year-old Aussie science buff could be looking at serious prison time because of a teeny piece of plutonium he ordered on the internet.
What?
It was part of his quest to collect every element on the periodic table.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
The self-proclaimed element collector was arrested in a dramatic bust involving border agents, police, firefighters, and even paramedics. But according to his lawyer, it wasn't some evil genius trying to assemble a doomsday device, just a curious young man who took his nerdy hobby way too far. He isn't only into rare elements. He also collects stamps, old banknotes, and coins.
This guy's a pimp.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
When he's not going out on dates, he's collecting those things.
Mm-hmm.
This was never about malice or danger, the lawyer explained. Collecting helps him cope. For some people, it's coins. For him, it was the periodic table. Prosecutors, however, aren't buying it. They argue that ordering plutonium, even in minuscule amounts, fuels a black market for dangerous materials, regardless of intent. Court documents reveal he bought the plutonium from a U.S. Science website and had it shipped to his parents' house with his full name on the label, which his defense said is proof that he's hardly a mastermind. He now faces his fate, that is, rests with a judge who's expected to deliver a sentence next Friday.
What a little nerd. I kind of love that, though.
You never once thought, boy, I should check a rule or two?
You sure he's not evil?
I don't know him, but, the cops aren't convinced. A Minnesotan is gaining some international notoriety for how much tail he pulls, and it's a lot of it. Mr. Pugsley Adams, a 2-year-old silver Maine Coon from Mound, just made history with his super long tail. Clocking in at a majestic 18.5 inches. It's less of a tail and more of a fluffy carpet he drags behind him. And it's now earned him the world record for the longest tail on a domestic cat. His owner always knew Pugsley had cake. Even the vet raised an eyebrow and probably a tape measure during his first checkup. Then 6 months later, the vet brought it up again. So the owner's kids decided it was time to contact Guinness World Records.
His handler says the idea to apply came after countless comments on Pugsley's impressive tail. Once they realized it surpassed the previous record, they knew they had a contender.
Now when
That guy doesn't sound like he's from Mound.
He's not from Mound. Now when they stroll around town, the owners say people call Mr. Pugsley Adams a local celebrity.
That's so cute. Cat doesn't care at all.
I forget, did I send this to you, Ashley?
Yeah, yep,
Might have
that's
been
up
last
on
week.
93x.com.
And how do people find stuff now? We're getting a line of text saying the website changed.
You have to go to the top tab, Half-Assed Morning Show, and then under that tab, there's another one that says headlines. Click that.
Okay, that's where you find it?
Yeah.
Gotcha. 21 years ago, he became the youngest WWE champ in history at the age of 24. Randy Orton, 45 today. Shout out to Big Bearded Jared, back at work after missing several months, recovering from several surgeries. Happy 57th to Over the Hill BMXer Moses from the Column Jockey Messiah. Happy birthday to Jake from your cousin Joe the Plumber. Metal Grinding Deburring Jesus text the Luther Bloomington Kia text line with a happy birthday shout out to his godson Axel. Happy birthday to But You Didn't Mean Not To Jesus from Electrical Jesus. And Minnesota Farm Bro Jesus sends a big ol' happy birthday to his smoking hot girlfriend Lexi. And that's 93X News.
Randy Shaver.
He's existing in this, shadow world of depravity.
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Number of technical fouls have been issued. Technical foul on Durant, technical foul on Richards, and 2 technical fouls on Brooks, and he has been ejected.
Oh, wow. Let's get going again now. First off, let's welcome our in-studio guests, Jungle Jane and C. Willi Myles. Hi, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Of course, Janel Klein and C. Willi Myles. There's Randy Shaver. Where's Randy at?
Good morning.
Now we're talking. And everybody, help us welcome to the program again to talk a little Twins baseball, Glen Perkins. Our conversation with Glen brought to you by Xfinity. Stream sports from the best seat in the house with Xfinity. Bring on the good stuff. Where's Glen Perkins? Hello, Glen.
Good morning, guys. Bring on the good stuff. We're hopefully we'll see that sooner rather than later.
Glenn?
Yeah, when are we going to see the good stuff?
Yeah,
when are we going to see it?
That's what my mother-in-law used to say every time Glenn went to the mound.
Bring on the good stuff.
Here comes the good stuff. That's what she says. She's a big fan of Glen Perkins.
Yeah, Glenn, thanks for joining us again. You probably didn't think it would only take a week for us to be kind of bewildered and looking to you for answers here as our Twins have started 0-4.
Yeah, I tell you, and in a pretty non-competitive manner, I think they've led one inning so far this year, and that was scoring first in the third game in St. Louis. It hasn't been a good start, and it's funny. I was thinking about it in this start, and on opening day, Justin and I were talking on TV about getting all those firsts out of the way, getting up there for the first time, getting that first appearance out of the bullpen, all of those things, because the longer it takes to get your first hit of the season, all those kind of just mini milestones, the more pressure builds on you. And I said that not thinking that it was going to take them this long and not have a win yet. So that pressure starts to build. I think this is the longest start to a season without a win since my second to last year in 2016. And I remember that. I remember how that felt. And so hopefully they'll be able to get the first one, get moving in the right direction a little bit. The good thing is it's a 162-game season, so they got plenty of time. And you're going to run into losing streaks like this. Every team does at some point during the season. It's just when it's at the beginning of the season, it can be a little shocking. And I think those boys in the clubhouse they want to find a way to get that first one out of the way.
Yesterday, Randy Shaver was willing to give the boys a break, right? Okay. Yesterday.
Yeah, I still am, even though.
Oh, your text messages didn't seem to indicate that you
were frustrated yesterday.
Well, I mean, if it wasn't the White Sox, I would probably have said, okay, not a big deal. But the come on, it's the White Sox. I mean.
Yesterday, Glen Perkins, we talked about the 0-3 start. Of course, we talked about the 0-3 start, and Randy said, basically, he repeated, what you just stated, Randy. You said something along the lines of, hey, the good news is they got the White Sox for 3.
Right.
And then yesterday it turns up 9-0, and Randy's sending text messages to us, losing his damn temper over.
Oh man!
But now, Randy,
anything can happen on any given day. Those are all Major League Baseball players on that White Sox team, and the Twins got ambushed. I mean, they're back on their heels. There's no question about it, and you start to press when things start like this. When it's not going your way, you start to press, and that doesn't help. But they'll break out of it at some point, and yeah, they get to play the White Sox 12 more times this year. I think they'll win more than they lose.
Why do you think, Glenn, they got ambushed? Why do you feel like they walked into Chicago yesterday and all of a sudden, I mean, the roof just fell in? How does that happen? It's been all 4 games. They haven't pitched well. And the offense has started slow, which is usually what happens at the beginning of seasons. I mean, you see these guys; they're up to bat with like masks over their face and stocking hats on when they're in the field. It's cold, and that usually benefits the pitchers. And so for them, it's not a surprise if they haven't really hit. I feel like they've always started slow. Even though they're healthy, even though they got all the plate appearances that they needed in spring training, it seems like they do start slow coming from the warm Florida to cold wherever they go. But they just haven't pitched well, and so that puts even more pressure on the offense. And that was the same yesterday. I mean, it was Chris Paddock home runs early in the game, and that game is over almost before it started. And the same thing happened with Bailey Ober on Sunday in St. Louis. They just haven't had great pitching performances yet, like you would expect. And so, I don't know. Does it need to warm up? Yeah, probably a little bit. Are these guys making excuses? No, but they got ambushed yesterday. I mean, we all saw it. And Chris Paddock looked really good in spring training. And none of the guys that I saw pitch in spring training have looked like that yet. And I think it'll be when the weather warms up, which is a terrible excuse.
I agree with Glen Perkins. It always seems like this team starts slow when they go from Florida to...
Yeah, but they made a point, though, of talking about not getting off to a slow start. There was a lot of discussion about that.
Well, discussion can only take you so friggin' far. You got to take... But here's a text message here. Glen Perkins, our listeners, text in a lot with smart mouth comments. What does this say? North of 95, Jesus says there ain't nothing wrong with a 158-4 record at the end of the season. Now, do you remember, like Glenn just got done saying, in 2016, this team started 0-9. Is there anything you remember about what turned things around that season where they're...
Well, I think we lost, didn't we lose 99 or 103 games?
Oh, so it didn't turn around.
That one we never turned around.
Oh.
I would still be willing to bet a lot that's not going to happen with this team. There's way more talent on this team than we had on that team 9 years ago. There's no question about that. They'll turn it around. It sucks. It really does. Like the way last season ended, you try to put that in the back of your mind. You try to forget about that. You focus on the new season, and to start off the way that they've started, it puts pressure on the guys in that clubhouse in a way that I hate to see it. I really do, and that's been
kind of how I've looked at it is like I've been a fan of this team for a lot longer than I've been a part of the organization. I guess it's getting pretty close now, but I hate to see things start this way and things go sour, and so it's on the fan side of me, I feel for them, and knowing what those guys are going through in the clubhouse, it sucks. And so I do hope that they find a way and start chipping away at this thing, and hopefully it's something at the end of the month of April you look at and you're like, oh yeah, remember that bad start? Like,
sure,
that's what we needed to fuel us. So
we all hope for the same thing. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a crappy way to start the season with everything that happened last year. I've been there, and I know that those things can start to creep back in your head. So you've got to find a way to get rid of that and move forward. As cheesy as that sounds, that's what those guys have to do.
Simeon Woods Richardson gets the ball the night game. And he's going up against a kid by the name of Shane Smith, who's making his major league debut for the White Sox. So,
hey, Glenn, I just have a question for Glenn. I look at Chris
Perfect,
Paddock's,
because he's here. It's Glen Perkins right here.
I look at Chris Paddock's ERA at 24.30, and you talk about pressure. I mean, to start your season with an ERA over 24, what does that due to your mindset as a pitcher, knowing that you're way better than that, but it's going to take probably 2 months to get it back to where it's respectable, right?
Yeah, they're not looking at that. There's honestly there's not much that I think he could look at from yesterday's start to think this is something I can build on. It's hard to take anything positive away from outings like that, but you prepare yourself for the next one. But you just can't you cannot look at your numbers, especially early in the year. It's that small sample size, the variables. You have one outing like this, it can look bad. It does look bad, but I also do think the more you pitch, the more it's going to come down. You have one outing, you give up a bunch of runs. I don't think it really matters if you give up 1 or 10 when your team loses. And so that's kind of the attitude I think that he's going to take is hey, I pitched like crap. It doesn't matter if I gave up 3 or 9. We were losing that game. We lost that game either way. And so you move on. From there, you try to find some sort of a positive, something that you can build off. Hey, my changeup felt good, or my fastball felt good. My velocity was good, even though it was cold. Those are the kind of things that you try to pull from outings like Paddock had yesterday.
What do you think at Torp? Oh, sorry, go ahead, Nick.
Well, I was just going to ask Glenn real quick. When it's 9-0 before 3 innings are in the books, is that, from a broadcaster's standpoint, is that when you get on Facebook and try to figure out something to talk about, or what?
I've always told my broadcast partners when I'm not working and if I'm not able to listen to the game initially and I tune in, I can usually tell what the score is by what the guys are talking about. And when Corey and Danny were on the radio together, if they were talking about farm tractors and wrenches, and you knew that it was a lopsided
cars
score one way or
and
the
restaurants
other.
and
Sometimes
things
that's
like
fun,
that.
though. Yeah.
Those are nightmares. And the games like yesterday, you hope those are few and far between, because you honestly have to work harder in those kind of games, and so you end up just trying to find things to have fun with, and you take the same perspective that those guys do. When Willie Castro's out there on the mound throwing 36 miles an hour, you got to make jokes about it. You got to be lighthearted about it, because those games, those days happen, and so, but they're worse. I mean, it's harder, especially those middle innings. It's harder than anything else. Is trying to come up with something to talk about, trying to still be focused on the game, even though you know this game has no chance and it's gone sideways. But I commend those guys yesterday. I thought they did a good job throughout that game. I tuned in a couple different times to see what they were talking about, and I thought they did a good job.
So
it's like when Ray Christensen used to do Go for Football. All you had to do was tune in for like 10 seconds, and Ray's tone would tell you if they were winning or losing.
Oh yeah,
right.
Exactly
I mean,
right.
just his tone. He didn't even really have to say much. you could just tell by the tone that.
Yeah, I would tell those guys if I turned a game on, I knew it was outside of 7 one way or another. Who was winning and who was losing, but I knew there was at least 7 separating.
Hey, Josh was curious, Glen Perkins, your thought on the torpedo bats. Everyone's talking about the torpedo bats because the Yankees hit 14 home runs in a game, and are they cheating? We all know that they're not cheating, technically. But this was the first I'd heard of torpedo bats. Were you familiar with these weapons?
It's actually the first I heard about it, too, in that I know they made a huge deal about it the other day when the Yankees hit 9 home runs. And kind of failed to mention that Aaron Judge, with a normal bat, hit 3 of those, which is like a normal Aaron Judge type of day.
Right.
There's obviously something to them. I think it ends up being personal preference because I know that the feeling has to be different. I haven't held one in my hands, but the way that they would balance out, I think they've got to feel a little bit different. I think the concept behind it is that guys that have tended to maybe get a little bit longer of a swing and jam themselves now have an opportunity to use a bat that spot where they would normally get jammed closer to the label is actually the barrel. And so they kind of just move the barrel. The weighting is the same, but the balance is going to be a little bit different. So it's a personal preference thing. I'm sure that every clubhouse is going to get them in all kinds of different weights, and guys are going to be trying them in the cage. There's no way it's not going to be a fad that catches on when things start like that. But it's also like the Yankees against Nestor Cortez. It's a guy that they know that was with them. They know what he's got. They know how he pitches. Very familiar with him, and they had a good day. It was 80 degrees. I was actually here. I'm in New York right now. And that day, it was like 80, 82 degrees. It's humid. The ball flies at Yankee Stadium when that happens.
It's a wiffle ball park.
Yes. It's a bandbox when it's hot out. And so I don't know how much stock you can put in it that these things are like akin to like a corked bat or anything like that. I mean, they still got to swing it. They still got to hit it. It's just a different feel for the guys. And so,
you're right. They are, from what I read yesterday, teams and players ever since last weekend, they're piling them up in the clubhouse now. Everybody wants to try the torpedo bat.
And I'm sure there's going to be some guys on the Twins that are going to start swinging them too. But
would it have helped you in your career at-bats, Glen Perkins? Take us through. How many career at-bats did you have?
Oh, man. I had 7.
7?
No, I know that I had 7. And I can never remember if I had 3 sack bunts and 4 strikeouts or 3 strikeouts and 4 sack bunts. It was one of the 2.
Well, at least you're able to lay down a bunt.
Average was 0.
I got the bunts down. I swung one time, and it was in my first at bat against a changeup, and I followed it between the catcher's legs. It was the only time I ever swung. And after that, I felt like I had no chance. It was. No, I was embarrassing, and it's still embarrassing when I look back at the videos. I'm like as far away from home plate as you can possibly be.
Right.
But the first time I hit in the major leagues, my last at bat was in 9th grade.
Oh, wow. Damn!
Wow. So
you never took an at bat in college?
No, I never hit in high school. I never hit in college.
Wow.
I got jammed in like my freshman year it might have been my sophomore year. Either way, I was very young. I got jammed in an at-bat in April in Minnesota, and I remember coming in after my hand hurt, and I'm like, I can't pitch if my hand hurts.
Right.
And so I don't want to hit anymore. So I never hit again in high school, never hit in college, never hit in the minor leagues, and all of a sudden I was in the batter's box in Milwaukee trying to hit a major league pitcher. So
how nervous were you?
I never had a chance. It was embarrassing.
Were you pretty nervous?
So thanks for bringing it up.
Well, we were just saying the other day that we kind of miss that. So ever since the designated hitter became universal, we miss seeing the American League pitchers kind of helplessly flail at the plate when they visit.
I tell you, when we actually had, when they did interleague play, like it was a chunk of the season. And I think it was everybody but a couple teams could do interleague play at the same time. I think back then there was an odd number of National League and American League, or there was 2 more maybe National League than American League, whatever it was. Right. But you would play like everybody in baseball. Basically everybody in baseball would be playing interleague play. It was like 2 weeks in June, and then they would do like another week later on in the season.
Right.
And so all the pitchers would get to hit batting practice together. You would go through all that stuff during the season to kind of get yourself ready for these interleague play games. It was so fun. We had so much fun doing that. Getting to take batting practice in different stadiums and all that was such a fun part of the schedule. And I obviously now there's interleague play all the time, and it's not even a thing anymore. It would be fun if they did do like, hey, these 2 weeks, pitchers are hitting. And just to do it, it's a fan. The fans love it. The players love it. It was always entertaining to watch guys that had no clue what they were doing try to get up there and swing a bat. We had a blast with it.
We as fans,
they'll never let it happen because they think everybody's going to get injured. But it was a lot of fun for the players.
No doubt about it. Absolutely missed that part of baseball. Okay, Glen Perkins is chatting with us here about the Twins and baseball in general. We'll be talking to Glen every Tuesday this baseball season. Okay, so the torpedo bats are new. Here's something else new. And you're going to go, damn, I mean, why couldn't we have had that luxury when you were playing in the bigs? The Philadelphia Phillies appear to be the first team to have a refrigerator in their dugout. And I saw,
damn, why couldn't we have that when I played?
Right. I saw the pictures of this in their home dugout. They've got 3 beautiful-looking little mini fridges with the water and the Gatorade in there and whatnot. Randy Shaver's a degenerate gambler. So, Randy, tell me where you'd go with this. It says the over-under currently stands at 28.5 home games before someone smashes it.
I would say the over. They're not going to smash that. That would just ruin it for everybody.
Players don't care when they lose their cool like that.
Yeah, they'll throw the huge 5-gallon bucket of gum.
Don't take it out of the under.
Glen Perkins has taken the under, and he played the game, Randy Shaver.
Don't take it out on that poor refrigerator.
I mean, like Ashley said, they'll turn over the Gatorade bucket. They'll break up all the baseball bats. You
don't see that much anymore, though. You used to see that a lot.
Sure,
I don't think you see that as much.
I remember seeing quite a few videos last year of people completely losing it and throwing stuff around. Didn't some dude break a fan?
Oh, you mean like someone sitting in the stands? I don't know about that.
No. I thought there's somebody. I think it was a pitcher.
You're thinking of that Timberwolves game the other night. Well, I mean, how many years ago was it where Bryce Harper and one of his teammates choked each other out in the dugout?
I just saw that video there. That was Jonathan Papelbon and Bryce Harper.
That's
that was
right.
Probably like 2018-ish, 29.
Wow.
They'll choke
I don't
each
remember.
other to death.
Yeah, it was late 2010s that happened. So, no, 28.5 is I still think that's an easy under. Like, I think that's going to be a target where somebody's going to get pissed.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing that they go for.
Got to blame it on something.
I don't understand why they need, like, the Twins have refrigerators just inside of the like, as you go from the dugout to the clubhouse.
Okay.
There's a big fridge right inside, like the first room inside of the stadium.
You just walk back there and grab
behind behind the dugout. There's a big fridge there. So I don't know why they need them in the dugout, but
I don't know. Maybe Harper demanded it or something. He's special.
Yeah, that's next level.
He's special.
But that's going to be a target. That is going to be a target for somebody.
Absolutely. They got some hotheads on that. Who was the teammate Glen Perkins that you walked on eggshells around? When you knew they were running a little bit hot because they might, break a bat over your knee or something.
Say his name.
Oh gosh, Carlos Gomez, maybe.
Really?
He was so damn young.
He was the one. Yeah, like he was the one that you never really knew what was going on. Like he wasn't super mild mannered. Like I feel like a lot of the guys that I played with were pretty mild mannered. Like they would take care of their frustrations, out behind the dugout. But like
Josh
Gogo
got in trouble for
was
that
probably
once here
a
at
guy
work.
that like you didn't know what he was going to do if he got mad. Man, that's a good one.
What about Poppy? Did you play with Poppy, right?
David Ortiz?
Yeah, I thought he ran hot.
He was before me.
Okay.
He was gone before I got there.
Ooh, Josh Donaldson. A listener's guessing Josh Donaldson.
Yeah, Josh Donaldson was after me.
Oh, okay. For Christ's sake, I'll get one in there somewhere.
Mr. Mall.
Yeah, I was trying to think.
Bob Allison. Okay, forget it. There's always somebody.
I think that Carlos Gomez would probably have been the one.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Oh, what about this? Who's the Phillies manager? What's his nuts? Girardi?
Yes. What's his nuts? It's no, it's an older guy. Joe Girardi. He was Thompson.
Okay. What about the idea of the Phillies manager throwing the refrigerator on the field when he's upset with an umpire? That could be the first.
Well, was it Paul Molitor or threw the balls on the field, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
He threw the bucket or the bag of balls on the field after a bad call.
Right. So maybe it's not the players we got to worry about murdering this.
I mean, Molly was a player when he did that. He wasn't managing. He wasn't our manager. But there's history of guys throwing stuff on the field. That would be aggressive. I envision the cord getting stuck, and he can't get the cord unplugged from the wall. And then there's frustration.
The refrigerator is full and it's heavy.
What were you saying, Willi Myles?
I was like, wasn't it the old Dodgers manager,
Tommy Lasorda?
Didn't he throw the igloo out on the field?
Oh, a cooler, you mean?
A cooler.
Oh, I don't remember
the yellow
that.
one. Yeah, the round one.
He did run hot. You're probably
he
right.
did run hot.
So the Gatorade cooler, he threw it out on the Lou Piniella. Other people, they're saying, Lou Piniella did things like that.
Lou Piniella used to kick the dirt on the plate. That's what Lou Piniella used to do.
that was his game.
Glen Perkins, are you calling tonight's game?
No, I'm on spring break with the family right now. I'm in New York City. And we're having a good time out here. I will be working when they get back. I got a little bit of time off. I was there for the opener and the kickoff to Twins TV, and then get a little bit of time off. And I really do a bulk of my games like May, June, July, August.
Okay, all right.
So I have a pretty light schedule in April, which I don't mind, and then get going when it warms up outside.
Well, I'll tell you what, interesting choice for spring break. A lot of folks like to go get some sun, for God's sake.
Yeah,
Glenn brought his family into the city.
Got a daughter that's a senior in high school. Her initial senior trip was going to be, we were going to go to Spain.
There you go.
And then my daughter's fall league hockey team, our younger daughter's fall league hockey team, won the tournament, so then they get the opportunity to play in another tournament, which is we're leaving for D.C. We're going to head down to D.C. today.
Okay.
And she's going to play in a hockey tournament. And so kind of as a consolation of, sorry, Addie, our older daughter, you can't go to Spain for your senior spring break.
Wow.
We're going to go to D.C. for hockey. Do you want? She loves Broadway. And so they're going to go see she's going to stick here with a friend. They're going to see their 5th show in 4 days.
Fabulous.
And so
That's fabulous.
Then we'll do Spain this summer, her actual senior spring break.
All right.
So
we
you're
had
also
to
dealing with
ad-lib,
some tension out there. You're
spring break is going to to be a hockey tournament in D.C.
All right.
So we added New York City on.
Very
to the
Minnesotan
beginning,
of
to
you.
try to sweeten the pot a little bit, yeah. So.
Very
It's as
Minnesotan.
Minnesotan as it gets. It's as Minnesotan as it gets. You're right. I mean, it's everybody else is literally everybody we know is somewhere sunny right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we were walking around New York City with umbrellas yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, that hurts.
You're getting in karate fights with street gangs in New York City. Thanks, Glen Perkins. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week. We'll be hoping for better things for our Twins.
Yeah, hopefully they'll get their first one in the win column by next Tuesday morning. Huh?
Wonderful. Thank you, Glenn.
Wow.
All right, fellas. Have a good day. Have a good week.
Our chats with Glen Perkins brought to you by Xfinity. Stream sports from the best seat in the house with Xfinity. Bring on the good stuff, they say.
Man, I hope they turn it around because I'm going to have to head back up to Greenwald, Minnesota and take that Major League Baseball app off my mother-in-law's television.
Well,
she's already texting me.
She is upset at the start to the
already,
season.
man.
Your mother-in-law?
And that she's got to pay for that app she's got.
Let's see them bring
I'm
a little.
paying for it.
You're paying for the app.
Attaboy.
You want a little happiness in your mother-in-law's life, certainly. Yeah.
Yeah, at least when the home opener comes around.
Things are bad, not only with the Minnesota Twins, but our neighbors to the east, the Milwaukee Brewers, tied a record by taking another brutal loss yesterday. So they were outscored 36-14 in a 3-game series at the hands of the New York Yankees to start the season. They were beaten 11-1 yesterday in their first game of their series against the Kansas City Royals. According to someone called StatHead Research, the 47 runs that the Brewers have allowed this season are the most in the first 4 games in franchise history, and they tied the big league record set by the 1954 St. Louis Cardinals. Most runs given up in the first 4 games of a season.
That kind of makes me feel a little bit better.
Yeah. Just to put it in perspective, the Brewers' team ERA is 12.27. The next closest to them is the Twins at 7.31. The batting average that the Brewers have given up so far this year, teams are batting .336 against them.
Jeez,
that's just unbelievable.
Hall of Fame.
That's
bad.
Unbelievable. That's like Hall of Fame numbers.
336, yeah.
Wow.
Chicago Cubs catcher Carson Kelly hit for the cycle last night against the Athletics.
In the first game in Sacramento. Welcome to Athletics baseball.
Playing in that minor league park, the Sacramento, whatever you want to call them, the Athletics.
Right.
This Kelly hit for the cycle, homered in the 4th, single in the 5th, walked in the 6th, tripled in the 8th. First Cubs player to hit for the cycle since who? Go ahead. Who's got the answer? First Cubs player to hit for
Ron Santo.
No, I knew you were going to say friggin' Ron. You know who might know? I bet you our board op, Cato, would know. He's a big baseball fan, filling in for Dana this week while Dana's on his honeymoon. Cato, this Carson Kelly for the Chicago Cubs hit for the cycle yesterday. He's the first Cubs player to hit for the cycle since who?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Oh, but you're a baseball guy.
I am a baseball fan, but I can't. I'm trying to think of like Cubs from like 3 or 4 years ago, and it's
think more Cubs when you were in high school.
Sandberg, Ryan Sandberg.
No, but you're very close.
Dawson, Andre Dawson.
You're getting even closer.
Mark Grace.
Mark Grace.
There we go.
Mark Grace.
May 9th, 1993, Mark Grace hit for the cycle. Before this, Carson Kelly was even born.
He was decent.
Mark Grace?
Yeah.
He's a good hitter in his time. The Cubs pounded out 21 hits on the Athletics, and they won 18-3. So, like you said, welcome to baseball, Sacramento, California.
The ballpark in Sacramento seats 14,000 people, and they had a huge opening day. Everybody was excited, big crowd, all that kind of stuff, and they lose 18-3.
Well, at least a whole lot of people didn't have to see it.
Yeah, that's true.
Very true. Hang on now, everybody. The Gallagher brothers are calling again. The Oasis reunion. Did you hear about this, Janelle? The Oasis reunion.
I did not.
Did you used to drive around your champagne Supernova?
Little Wonderwall, perhaps?
Did you, I don't know, what was the Wonderwall song about? Something about a Wonderwall? Did you get involved in this?
I mean, I know what the song is.
Yeah?
I don't think I ever cruised around to it or, sang it or
Are you sure?
Did you watch the Vikings game in London?
No, I didn't.
They sang so much Oasis at that game. Like the whole crowd was getting into it.
Really?
They love this stuff.
No, love
They
it.
do.
Love Oasis.
They're reuniting in the year 20 and 25. They got a U.S. tour going, and we want to send a listener to see them at the friggin' Rose Bowl, which is, wow, the Rose Bowl. So you can score a trip for 2 with round-trip air, 2-night stay, $250 spend in cash, and 2 tickets to see Oasis live in concert with special guest Cage the Damned Elephant. What we need you to do is text the national keyword ANGER, A-N-G-E-R. Text the national keyword ANGER to 95819. Not the regular set of numbers that we usually... 95819 is where you send the keyword ANGER to enter for a chance to win. Oasis is back. What other baseball news do we have here? This is kind of funny. L.A. Dodgers first baseman Freddie Freeman was out of the lineup last night against the Atlanta Braves because he recently slipped in the shower and re-injured his bad right ankle. That's what happens when you get older. You start having falls in the shower.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Wow.
I've had close calls. Luckily, never fell.
Yes.
Anybody else?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you're klutzy.
Yeah, you've got to be
I'm
careful.
just an idiot.
I've never fallen in the shower.
Me neither.
I hit my head once in high school so bad that I took the faucet out of the wall.
No way.
But
I went to school that day too.
Did you get knocked out?
For like Like a minute or two.
Yeah. Oh, my God. You didn't fall, buddy. That was a blackout.
I forgot what it was, but there was a field trip that day, so I didn't want to miss school, and I didn't.
What were your parents like? Because my dad would not have been sympathetic. He would have been pissed at me that he had to pay somebody.
Yes, exactly.
I don't remember that part exactly. I just remember. I think it was more a confused look. Like you walked away from this.
Wow. Well, you do have a skull on you.
Yeah, I was going to ask. Were you about? How old were you?
16.
Wow.
Okay, so were you about your size at that point?
Yeah, yeah. I was like 200 pounds in 7th grade.
I wonder if
seriously, wow.
I wonder if you and I, who out of the two of us has the larger skull? Because I have a big, fat, misshaped.
I'm like a 7 5/8. If that's. I don't know what your hat size is.
That's large.
Yeah.
You got an office in the building, right, Cato? This is Cato filling in for Dana. You got an office in the building?
I do.
Do you have a hat in there that you wear regularly?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
I was going to have you go fetch it and see it, put it on my head because my head is so large. 7 5/8. It's been so long since I wore a fitted hat.
It's on the high side.
Oh, what? We got a hat in the studio here.
Yeah.
So maybe we.
Oh yeah, we'll have to test it out.
But we could have you try it on.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
we can just see how much is left.
All right, we'll do that. Because your head appears to be larger than mine. It appears to be, but I don't know. Looks can be deceiving. I have a big fat ass. Whenever you're done with that hat, throw it this way, Janelle. We got a what is this? Oh, our half-assed IPA beer.
Oh, sweet.
Hat. All right. We'll get to the bottom of this in a minute. We got to find out who's got the larger skull, me or old Cato over there. So Freddie Freeman's not going to be able to play baseball for a little while. He hurt himself in the shower. He slipped and fell. I've never had that problem. An old-timer I know mangled himself out in Las Vegas. He got a buzz on and then decided, boy, I smell like garbage. So he got into the shower, slipped and fell, and landed on the tub,
Yup, I've done that,
and he broke his ribs.
Oh, my
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ouch. Oh, then you're naked. That just sucks.
Yeah, D hanging. Paramedics had to come. D hanging.
Oh, no.
That's why I always get the suite, man. I don't like tubs.
Okay.
I want to walk in.
You want the nice big shower,
Shower. Yeah, my wife always asks all the time, why do you, I feel like I'm safe. I like to be safe.
All right.
Cato, you're going to have to dial it back a little bit. Apparently, you are arousing a lot of our listeners with your voice. A lot of people texting in saying, tell them to keep talking. It's working for them.
I'll show up. How many mornings do you want me to show up?
He's a ratings tiger.
Apparently.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I've just adjusted this hat.
You're down to the last notch, aren't you?
2.
Okay, it's 2 notches.
This is comfortable on my head. So who would like to pass this over to Cato? Maybe Cato, you come get it, whatever. And let's see. This is comfortable on my head. Let's see how this fits on his skull.
I'm so excited.
Because I almost always have the biggest noggin in the room.
But I hate for you to lose that title.
Yeah, you're going to be a little sad if you don't?
And then you got nothing.
If I lose this,
nothing.
what the hell good am I?
I got nothing.
I'm the big head guy.
Here he is.
All right, let's see.
Wow.
Oh,
Hello.
yeah, it's loose.
It's
You're still the
loose.
big head guy.
It's loose on Cato. I win again.
Jeez. And he's got hair.
Look at that friggin' noggin.
Yeah.
I know. And he's got hair.
Yeah, he does.
I'm happy for
And
you,
it's
Nick.
still loose on his head.
Mine's even bigger. Dude.
Gosh, I always forget how big your head is,
Corporate radio rules. I win again, Josh.
What are you, like an 8.5?
I don't know. See, I don't wear the fitted ones with the numbers on the. I used to, but I'd stretch them out and then I'd have to throw them away. That's why I only wear adjustable caps now.
Wow.
That was fun.
Yeah, did you enjoy that?
Yeah. What other body parts can we compare? Let's keep this going.
I think that head is just enough.
Man.
Now I'm disappointed. Now now I feel inferior.
You've got a bigger brain. You've got a bigger brain.
I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does. He's only coming in. He's only coming in 2 days this week.
Smart guy.
He's obviously the smarter of the two of us.
I need my sleep.
Here's a stat I bet Randy Shaver will enjoy. Another baseball stat. Rafael Devers of the Boston Red Sox has had a terrible start to his season.
Did he finally get a hit?
Well, here's what I have in front of me. He struck out 3 more times yesterday, has the Red Sox played the Baltimore Orioles. So he has 15 strikeouts under his belt to start the season through just 5 games.
He doesn't have a hit.
Okay.
He's not happy playing the DH because Alex Bregman became the third baseman in Boston.
Okay.
So I think he's pissed about having to be the DH for the Red Sox.
That's his problem.
But I mean, Boston has the same problem the Twins do. They strike out too much. They had 13 strikeouts against the Orioles yesterday.
Rafael Devers with 15 strikeouts through 5 games. He now has the same number of strikeouts that Tony Gwynn had during the entire 1995 baseball season.
That's amazing.
Wow.
If you're an old school baseball fan, you know that Tony Gwynn is one of the greatest hitters to ever live, and his specialty was he always put the ball in play. Always. So Rafael Devers, after 5 games, has reached 15 strikeouts, the same amount that Tony Gwynn had in the entire 1995 baseball season.
Good Lord.
And the Red Sox are 1-4, which is not the start they were planning on either. So
that's a wicked game, man. That you could.
Well, it's all about failure. I mean, baseball is how do you deal with failure, because that really is the game. We always talk about all the success everybody has, but it's how do you deal with going, like Rafael Devers. How do you 15 strikeouts in the first 5 games of the year? How do you overcome all that? And I think Glen Perkins was talking about that in a lot of different ways with the Twins today, too. That's what baseball is. It's failure.
If lean into a pitch. If you can't get a hit, lean into a pitch. Get on base, man.
Sure.
Ron Hunt used to do that for a living with the Montreal Expos.
Ron Hunt. Josh knows his older brother. What's his name again?
Full name is Michael.
Michael Hunt. Jerickson Profar of the Atlanta.
Nice signing by the Braves, by the way.
What?
Yeah, Jerickson Profar was their top signing in the offseason.
Oh, was he?
Oh, yeah.
He's been suspended for 80 games for performance-enhancing drugs.
Yeah.
I don't have any more details or what his excuse might be.
They're 0-5, so we shouldn't feel bad, Twins fans.
Performance-enhancing drugs, see Willi Myles. Are you on them?
No, no. Well, coffee.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what I do before I walk on stage, and I get up in the morning. Yeah, that's my drug.
You ever pop any pills before you go live, Janelle? Some performance-enhancing?
No steroids?
The viewers might think I have. I don't know. No. That's all natural.
Jack down some amphetamines or something before you go live. There's been an automobile accident on 35W.
Oh my God.
Just screaming, and your hair is all over the place. Sweating.
Her eyes are shifting.
I bet there's times or horrible things you've covered or stand out in terrible weather events where you wished maybe you were on something.
Oh, yeah.
For a bit of an escape.
Yeah.
Sure.
For sure.
I'm standing out front of the courthouse with the verdict.
Oh my gosh.
So yelling, she got her earpiece in. Get out of my ear! Yeah. I'm going live. Let's go live.
The voices in my head tell me that we are live. The Pigs were able to drag a point out of last night's game. Last night's game is how you say it in New Jersey, but in the end they lost to the Devils in one of those silly shootouts. It'll go into the record books as a 3-2 win for New Jersey. The Devils have a tough hockey club. I say good for the Pigs for pulling a point out of their rink, but if the St. Louis Blues win tonight, the Pigs will fall into the second of the 2 wild card spots in the Western Conference playoff setup. And Calgary also plays tonight. Calgary's right there, too.
Yeah.
This isn't going to end in disaster, is it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, we've talked about this for the last couple of weeks, that they feel like they're in a pretty decent position. It would be another monumental Minnesota sports team collapse if they somehow lose their way out of the playoff picture.
Wait a minute. Is hockey still going on?
Oh, yeah.
Jeez.
Of course it is.
My God. Well, I've been gone, so.
Where the hell you been?
I'm out in the Mountain West.
Oh, yeah, you've been on tour.
Yeah.
How did that treat you?
I'm glad to be back.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of those tours where you Shaver, you've probably been there. It's one of those tours that it convinces you that it's time.
Yep.
It's time. I just don't. It's like the line in the movie Open Range when Kevin Costner and Duvall get ready to go into town and the dog got up and he goes, yeah, he's got the heart, but he don't got the legs no more. That's me. I was out when I flew. Like I started in Minnesota, went to Iowa, North Dakota, Montana, Colorado, New Mexico, and I just realized halfway through that tour, you know what? Yeah, you don't got to do this no more.
So this is it. This is it for C. Willi Myles.
That tour. Yeah, that tour convinced me that the national tour days of C. Willi Myles is over.
Will you do one more final show at Rick's Cabaret or something of a big party?
So you said national. Will you play?
Right. I'll do some regional stuff, but
Okay.
I won't do national anymore.
All right.
And that was a little too much.
How long were you gone for?
I had 12, 13 shows in 15 days.
Oh, yeah, that's doing way too much.
Well, see, Cubby and I were going to follow you on your next Mountain West tour.
Yeah, well, you won't see me out there. Not that one again. That was tough.
Be the roadies. They want to set you up.
Get some of those substances from Janel. Have a good time.
I could have used some on that day.
Were you inspired by the beloved newscaster retirement? Of course, I'm referring to Joe Schmidt.
Joe Schmidt, man.
Channel 5.
I love Joe Schmidt. Yeah, that's a three big. I love the photo that you posted, Randy. You guys were my favorite sportcasters of all time. Absolutely. You guys were awesome, man.
Congratulations to Joe. That's awesome.
It looks like you got yourself, Randy, you've got yourself a new pickleball partner now.
What's that? With
Well, Joe Schmidt.
Yeah.
His last day
I'm
will
very,
be...
I'm very happy for him. You know, he's worked his butt off. He's very good at what he does. He's got a great speaking career.
Yeah,
he does motivational speaking. He does very well. He wrote that Joe Mauer book. He's busy with that.
It's going to be a musical. Did you see that?
No way.
Yeah, it's going to be a musical.
Oh, that's awesome.
So he's got.
What do you mean? What's going to be a musical?
The Joe Mauer book.
Oh.
Yeah, they're turning it into a musical.
Oh, my God.
Here in town.
Wow.
He's just got a lot of stuff going on, and now he has the time to be able to do what he wants when he wants to do it. So
Joe Schmidt's last day on television will be April 30th. Lucky prick. Yep. He made some comments yesterday, talked about all the fun he had. You know, see, Randy, when you retired, you didn't say anything about the fun. Did you not have any fun?
That's not true. I did.
I never heard you say the word fun.
Well, I would say my last 12 years as a news anchor, there wasn't a lot of fun there.
Jeez, no doubt.
But there was.
You look like you were having fun.
Certainly during my sports career, it was a lot of fun.
Professionals are good at faking it. See, Willie.
Wow.
Randy,
No way, man. Randy was working with Belinda and Julie. How can you not have fun?
That's true.
That's a good point.
I would show up to work I'd work 7 days a week if I had to work with those ladies.
Yeah, my dad would kill for that job.
True story. Me too.
Just surrounded by heat all night, every night. The Fighting Timberwolves playing Colorado tonight against the Denver Nuggets, who I said last week
Big game.
I've had enough of. I've overdosed on the Denver Nuggets being on my television.
Jokic is back and playing hard again.
Don't care. Game starts at 9 o'clock tonight on TNT. But is everyone available tonight? Is anyone going to be suspended from this?
I think everybody's available. I don't think they're suspending anybody.
All right, not yet at least.
No, I don't think they are. I think they're fine.
Okay.
What are they fighting now?
Yeah.
Well, they did have a fight the other night.
You didn't see the fight the other night?
No.
Oh, they were choking each other to death, and they spilled over into the crowd. And
who were they playing?
The Detroit Pistons.
Detroit.
Oh, yeah.
Lambeer got in our face. And
That's an
microwave.
Rick Mahorn. I can't stand those
Isaiah
guys.
Thomas was just, it was awful.
Rick Mahorn.
Rick Mahorn, that son of a...
that track.
He knocked the popcorn out of some kid's hands,
Right.
and then Joe Dumars scored 35
Thank
points.
God we had Dean Garrett knocking some people around.
Right. There is one member of the Detroit Pistons, Isaiah Stewart, who was involved in that gangbang the other night. He's been banned from a Minnesota restaurant.
Oh.
Parkway Pizza, who are known to be big Timberwolves fans over there. They say that Isaiah Stewart is not allowed in their restaurant. They have a honk if you love Nas Reed sign outside the joint. And during that gangbang Monday night, Stewart appeared to put Nas in a Draymond Green style chokehold. So they're saying, you are not allowed to be on the premises to Isaiah Stewart.
Well, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Nas Reed's good people.
Mm-hmm.
Sure seems that way.
We all agree with that. All right, we got to get going again. Kevin Durant may have played his last game with the Suns.
I saw this. Whew,
he completely remodeled his ankle in a ball game a night or two. Next stop, Minnesota.
Yeah, I watched that happen. That was ugly.
That's what Josh says. Next stop for Kevin Durant, the Durantula.
Come on, Josh.
Right here in Minnesota.
I know I've been very vocal about it.
Yes. You dirty. So you and Joe Schmidt may be teaming up on the pickleball court.
That's good.
Yeah.
This is a nice picture, Randy. I just haven't looked at it.
It's the end of an era.
Yeah.
What are we looking at? What's the picture?
Well, Randy posted a picture of himself, Joe, and Mark Rosen.
When you were young, fellers?
Oh, nice.
Well, it was about, that picture was taken about.
Don't say that. You got
maybe 8 or 9 years ago.
Oh, so you weren't young.
Yeah.
You were quite.
If it had been from the 2000, Randy, that would have made sense. But
yeah, I want to see
this was in the 20s.
Yeah. I want to see some pictures of you from the early 80s.
Who, me?
Yeah, I've seen a couple.
He looks like a movie star.
I'll send you a couple today. I have a couple.
I mean, I've seen a couple, and you look like C. Thomas Howell. You look a lot like C. Thomas Howell.
I couldn't call it, but now I see it now.
Yeah,
I couldn't call it. I kept looking at him going, who does he look like?
Not so much from The Outsiders because he had the
As long as I don't
hair.
look like Thurston Howell, I guess I'm okay with that.
Well, what are you talking about? He shacked up with Lovey every night.
I thought he was kind of a stud, actually.
Yeah, I suppose.
We'll talk to you tomorrow there, Randy Shaver.
See ya.
Thanks for every damn thing.
Take care, brother.
When we return, we'll still hopefully have C. Willi Myles and Janel Klein along board. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Maybe.
We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, there's my beautiful podcast, people. Everybody good? All right, great to hear. Thanks, as always, for listening to the podcast. And, of course, thanks to our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning for making it all possible. Can we believe it's April already? And like the old saying goes, April showers brings gross, disgusting humidity and heat in May. Beat the heat and the summer rush. Have Standard Heating and Air Conditioning out to work on that AC soon. April is the best month to get your air conditioning wrenched on before the huge summer rush starts. So get on that today. Go to standardheating.com and schedule that AC tune-up. Thanks for listening. We love you podcasters. Enjoy the show.
Bravo TV star Lala Kent holds nothing back.
There's been so many times where I'm like, I apologize that I said that, but that wasn't meant for you to hear.
Feel you there.
How fun would it be to bring in some Bravo celebrities and make our own bracket?
Iconic.
All right, I'll take Dorinda, you take Sonia.
Sonia is who I wish I could be.
You and me both. I cannot be someone in the program. What's PTO?
Pay time off. See? You've never had a real job.
Give them Lala.
It is nothing but honesty.
You guys know.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
They are in an alternate reality than ours. They are in that rock and roll rock reality.
They surround themselves with these professional dickheads.
And I'm not even really sure if they're aware, you know?
I don't think they're aware of how much they suck.
93X rocks.
I'm over here fantasizing about life after 9 a.m., Josh.
Yeah, that's your favorite time of day, I think.
Wasn't paying attention even a little bit. Welcome back to the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. Janel Klein and C. Willi Myles are in studio with us this morning. C. Willi just got off a tour. He's exhausted.
Yes.
Janel Klein, what's new with you?
Not touring.
You're not touring?
No.
Have you been out of town? I suppose we just saw you last week.
Yeah, I've been out of town a little bit. Yeah, here and there. I think I can talk about it. I was working on, I don't know how much you guys followed it. It was actually kind of a sad story, but this young woman who was a college student that I think drowned or she's missing in the Dominican Republic. Did you guys?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I've heard about that. Yep.
Kid from St. Cloud that we're looking at?
Yeah.
Minor details.
Yep. So, and they questioned a young man who is from Iowa but went to school at St. Cloud State, or does go to school at St. Cloud State.
So the gal disappeared into the ocean.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they don't know exactly what this Iowegian kid was up to at the time.
Right. Yeah. But he's been cleared. I mean, they don't think that he had anything to do with it. It was probably just a really sad accident. It was high tide. And,
Damn.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, you got to be careful with the water, man, when you're in parts of the ocean.
And I'm not a strong swimmer. I never was.
Most people aren't when they get in the ocean. I mean, pools are different. Oceans are.
Yeah.
That's a whole different water.
I was only in the ocean once, and I thought, well, I'm done.
Yeah.
That's it.
Never enjoyed it. Afraid of it.
Waves suck.
I think waves do suck, and I've said before, if someone has the means, feel free to scoop up everything that lives in the ocean and put it in a trash can. Because I'm terrified of all of it.
Yeah, man, I'm ankle high. That's it.
Yeah.
Ankle, not even knee high. Ankle high.
That's the way to do it.
So you were working that story, Janelle.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get nothing but the hilarious ones, don't you?
Right?
Yeah.
Softballs.
It's April Fool's Day. Are both of you down with that or what?
No.
No,
I'm not a big. Back in the day, I guess when I was in college, I was all about it. But
pranks.
Yeah.
What kind of pranks did you pull off?
Yeah. I mean, I was legendary.
You were.
Yeah. I mean, when I was in college, some of the things that I did, some of my classmates, but roommates. I'm sorry. Classmates too. One time I was in my biology class, and this is a true story. I'm not making this up. I knew where this one guy sat. He sat there all the time, and it made me mad because he sat in front of me for a reason. Because he had a big whopping hat on his head that he never took off.
Yeah.
But anyway, that morning I got to class early, which I never did,
Mm-hmm.
and I put Vaseline in his seat.
On it.
Oh.
So he sat down, he shot right.
I'm talking about a half inch.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot.
And then at that point, you got to go all the way back to the dorm. You got to go back to the dorm. There's no way you can walk around with a greasy butt.
Yeah.
I did. I used it. It cost me $1.17. I used all the Vaseline.
$1.17.
That's right.
He shot right down to the floor. Everyone laughed him out of the room.
Slid right through the whole chair that he sat in, just slid right off.
He had to go home.
And it looked like he messed himself.
Yeah. Changes.
And then you have to walk home. And I wasn't in there, so they couldn't even blame me. I did it and left.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah. I was watching.
So you were a prankster?
Oh, 100%.
And so there must have been some payback from your friends.
No one ever knew it was me. I did stuff in the silence of the night.
Oh.
I would come in, I know my buddy had, my roommate did cereal every
in the
morning.
Silence of the night.
I love that.
He did, I get up, I'm a soft walker, my friends, everybody's flat, but I live with a lot of white people, so their feet were very flat.
Yeah.
And I was an athlete, so I tiptoed through. And I went in the refrigerator. This is a true story.
Wait, there's a foot difference between white people and black people?
Absolutely.
My feet are very flat.
And athletes and regular people.
It's science, yeah.
There's a talent there.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So he had cereal like every single morning. So on his gallon of milk, I pour at least I think what amounted to like a cup of vinegar in his milk.
Oh man!
Come on, a dude's trying to have cereal.
I don't care.
Oh,
it was April Fool's.
Yeah.
And I didn't care. I went all out.
Oh.
And no one ever knew it was me, man. I was just like, and so I had cereal and I spit too because you always had your name on your milk. So I spit too to play the role. I was a theater major.
Okay. you acted
so
as
pretended
if
you got
absolutely.
It. Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, who nah? But nobody never realized I drank out that same milk the next day. They weren't very smart.
You were stealth. You were secretive about it.
Absolutely.
Borderline evil.
Absolutely. And petty.
And petty about it.
I was petty. These were people. This was a roommate that farted a lot. And you couldn't close your door and when you went to sleep because you couldn't get no crosswind in the house that we lived in. So,
Janelle, did you have the farting roommate when you were a college student? No?
Maybe it was you then.
I don't feel like you would be a good prankster, Nick.
Well.
And your friends, because they're very funny.
I appreciate that, but here's the thing. Maybe we are funny people, but we lack motivation. And I was just discussing this earlier, that I wish I had more presence of mind and motivation to be that guy now. I wish I would have been that guy when we were young, because I do enjoy a good prank, but I don't know, Josh, I couldn't come up with any that I've personally pulled. Oh, well, me and a friend, speaking of college days,
right.
I mentioned this when we first started the show. We pulled off a fake fight, and it was very believable, and everybody bought it. We had stage blood and everything.
Wow.
That's the only one I can come up with, like a real solid prank where there was planning and brilliant execution, and we had everybody fooled. When we were living up at St. Cloud State, every night there was a fist fight. You guys lived college lives. You knew how it was. We were always getting in fist fights. So it was very believable that a fight would cut loose. The part that threw the crowd was that this was my best friend at the time, and we started shouting back and forth and had this very believable fist fight. We landed real punches because we wanted it to be as real. And then he has the fake blood coming out of his mouth, and the party comes to a complete halt, and then we say, just kidding, ha-ha. That's the only one I can think of.
Was this for April Fools? Or
no,
just
I don't. It could have been. It was so long ago. I think we just decided to do it just to do it. So I wish I was more of a skilled prankster.
There were some fun texts coming in on the topic. One guy said that he put some bees in one of his coworkers' toolbox. They work in a loud shop and everything, so he wouldn't notice. But he forgot because it had been a while. He went to open the toolbox, and apparently he's allergic to bees. So he said he ran out of there screaming like a little kid.
Oh, my gosh, you're going to kill somebody.
Did he mention anything about the process of putting bees somewhere?
No, that's as far as he got.
And he was allergic to bees, so it was a big risk for him to even be handling the bee.
Can you buy a box of bees? I think you can, right?
Sure can.
There's a hammer swinging Jesus said in college he said, I quote, had the bright idea to saran wrap over the toilet. You know that bit, right? And
great bit.
Yeah, it's a good one. You look confused.
I've never heard of that.
So you put saran wrap over the bowl.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And so people aren't going to really pay attention. It's clear, and then you pee on it or whatever you do on it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But he said the problem was it's great until your roommate gets drunk and goes to barf after a night of drinking.
Oh, no.
And then refuses to clean it up. So he said, guess who got that luxury? Backfired quickly.
Son of a bee. He had to mop up the puke.
Yeah, he had to mop it up.
But
I like the ones that backfire. That's fun.
Now, the saran wrap on the toilet gimmick actually makes this list that I have in front of me of April Fool's jokes that should not be made. And they say saran wrap on the toilet, that belongs in middle school.
Yeah, that's child's play.
Oh, I don't think so. Hell no. I think that can be fun for all ages, saran wrap on the toilet bowl. I think you can be in your 20s and maybe early 30s and still get some
Well, chances are if you're doing that, you also live in the house. So why would you do that to yourself?
I mean, I got a mop and whatnot. I mean,
but that's a mess.
I'm sure it's messy. I don't know. I don't think it belongs on this list. Okay, here are the April Fool's jokes that should not be made. These are apparently the no-nos in the April Fool's community. I'm pregnant or we're having a baby.
Yeah, I'd never do that.
There's a risk there, certainly. You're not knowing how the other person might respond. Somebody texted in earlier and said they got that. So they're significant.
Really?
They weren't married. They were just started dating, and they got that text.
Yeah, I've seen people do that on social media, and they absolutely get lit up, which they deserve because of people that struggle with having children. It's not funny.
You lie to your friends about being engaged or family, I guess. The I'm engaged shouldn't be an April Fool's joke. I guess I don't really see the humor there.
Yeah, I don't really either.
I mean,
what if your parents are like, oh, no.
I don't know. I mean,
then it becomes funny.
I'm pregnant or we're having a baby. That's a massive thing. Oh, my God. Maybe you shouldn't joke about that, but I'm engaged, so what? Oh, you're not engaged? Wow, what a hilarious joke.
Can I say something real quick?
Yes, Willi.
I had a friend of mine that his wife did that, but he knew.
What?
That his wife told him that she was pregnant.
Yeah.
April Fool.
Yeah.
And he goes, he said, man, I'm really happy for us. And he said, that's unfortunate because I didn't want to tell you I just lost my job.
Oh no!
And it was funny because he hadn't lost his job.
He got her back.
She just.
But wait, honey,
the look on her face.
Yeah.
Well, after he said, "I just lost my job," and again, he's a theater major, so he really sold it.
As you were a theater major.
Absolutely.
What was your finest role?
Nuts and Bolts.
I don't know what you mean.
That was a play I was in.
You were in a play called Nuts and Bolts?
Yeah,
lead character?
Navy ship.
You were the leading
ship. I was like Denzel Washington, baby.
Heck yeah!
Were you nuts or were you bolts?
I had to relieve him of his duty. Nuts and Bolts.
Now
baby.
we know, Janelle. Now we know who we're dealing with here.
Right.
Not only a supreme athlete with better feet than the rest of us, but also a theater major at St. Cloud State University. Look at him. He's taking a bow to the crowd.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you a fun prank that a friend of mine pulled off when he had his first baby. He and his wife were at the hospital, and maybe some people would say, well, that's too serious of a situation to make a joke, but this is what he did. It wasn't anything he planned out. I think he just had a funny idea and went with it. His first baby, so there is he and his wife are in their little hospital room. They take the baby away to wash it up or whatever the hell they do, right? Mm-hmm. And the nurse, the lead nurse, knew that my friend and his wife, they knew that this was their very first baby. And this nurse was kind of emotional about it, you know. Maybe you'd think after a few years in the business, you don't get emotional over babies anymore. But this nurse was very excited and happy for them. It's their first baby. So they take the baby out of the room, and they bring it back in all cleaned up and wrapped in a blanket. And the nurse is kind of tearing up as she's bringing the baby for the first time to be presented to mother and, father. And the nurse says, here's your little baby boy. And my buddy stands up and says, so are you the one I have to talk to about the blood test, or?
Oh, no.
And the nurse's face went just ghostly white, and he said, I'm kidding, for Christ's sake. Give me my kid.
They don't play about that stuff.
I thought that was pretty funny. Is that funny or not?
Nah.
That's funny.
That's hilarious.
All right.
That's hilarious.
All right, here are more supposed...
Doesn't look like me.
Yeah.
I had a vasectomy, lady. This isn't mine.
These are supposed April Fool's jokes that you don't bother with. What's the word I was just looking for? Off the rules. There's something I'm missing here, Josh. There's a term. Don't do these. I'm sorry, I lost my my ability to make words. Fake emergency alerts are not funny.
Oh, you can get some major trouble for that.
Weather emergencies, disasters, or attacks is how they put it. Yeah, you can go to jail for that.
Yeah, I didn't even realize there's certain alarms, like in a commercial you might have heard back in the day, or a promo, like, hey, we're having a huge, the size of a hurricane, whatever it is. You can't play some of those alarms. It's against the law. I had no idea.
Okay. Off limits is the term I was trying to come up with, and it's embarrassing that it took me that long. Yeah, you don't do fake emergencies. Oh, we're under attack. Yeah, that's not funny. Telling someone they got fired or laid off.
Well, nowadays it's too believable.
It's very believable. Saying a celebrity has died. People say that's not funny. You don't do that.
That happens a lot.
They've been doing that a lot lately.
What's been happening
lately?
lately?
Like people have posted on social media and then it spreads and it's not true.
How many times has Justin Bieber died over the years?
Or I don't even know. They post a lot of people like that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not on social media. Who is there one that you remember, Josh, that really?
Well, Justin Bieber's a reoccurring one.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that there's a few that kind of pop up every once in a while.
I pulled this off as a junior high kid. I believe it was 7th grade. I was so friggin' sick and tired of hearing about U2. I hated U2. And all the hottest girls in my 7th grade class just loved U2. And that made me mad. In my 7th grade brain, they weren't supposed to like U2. They were supposed to like AC/DC and Ozzy Osbourne and Kiss, you know. So I got tired of hearing about U2 and their lead singer, Bono. He's so hot, they would say, right? And as a stupid idiot kid, I sat down at the lunch table with all these babes, and it didn't take long for one of them to say, Bono did this or Bono did that. And I said, what? You guys talking about Bono? And they said, yeah. I said, well, he's dead. And they said, what? And I said, well, you don't have MTV? And they said, well, yeah, we have. I didn't have MTV, but I lied. Right. I said, you didn't see it on the news on MTV? No. I said, he got hit by a car. He's dead. And these 7th grade girls began crying and screaming and running out of the lunchroom, and it was just me being a mean prick.
Well, that's one of those
things. You
things.
just finished eating the rest of their food.
Yeah, chicken and nuggets.
Where back in the day, I mean, they probably didn't figure it out until they went home and waited for the 5 o'clock news. You couldn't just look that up.
I got called into the principal's office for that, and I said, I'll admit it. I wish he was dead, but he's not. I lied.
I heard it, so I was just repeating what I heard.
Yeah. April Fool's jokes that aren't funny according to the April Fool's community. Calling it a fake crime or medical emergency. Didn't we just do that one? Fake job offers or promotions. Hey, how about you being the new CEO? And it's fake, I guess. Yeah, that's a little too serious for most people. Fake cheating confessions. I don't know why you'd want to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's never a good idea, because what if you confess to it and then they're like, well, good, because I've been cheating on you this whole time.
A lot of those, right? That's exactly how I feel.
With your Uncle Steve.
Why put that in someone's head?
I have an Uncle Steve.
You do?
Yeah.
Would you?
Call him right
No.
now. Find out what he's doing. I bet it's something shady.
I bet.
Fake injuries or illnesses.
Yeah, that's too serious.
Every once in a while, Josh has a brutal story in his news about these low-life, derelict sumbitches who fake cancer so people send them money and whatnot.
Or even worse, when they fake their kid has it. And there was the case that one lady where her kid thought he had cancer.
Oh.
She had to make the bit believable.
Yeah.
So she even told her kid, look, you're not going to make it. Theater major C. Willi Myles.
Well, I mean,
is that how you put it?
Theater / psychology.
Also a psychology major.
Yeah, man, I was a double whammer.
Nice.
I'll tell you what.
Good listener, good speaker.
We did not know. We thought we knew you.
Legendary, brother.
Legendary speaker.
I am layers like an onion.
Yeah, I like it.
Did you ever try acting in college, Janelle?
Oh, God, no.
Why not?
Were you ever in a school play or anything?
I
like
never
that?
was.
Neither was I.
What? Not even when you were a kid?
I don't like being in front of people and attention. I get
You're a reporter.
I don't like all that.
We were forced to do that when we were in elementary school.
What'd they do? Just grab you around the neck and say, go act.
Yeah, exactly. It was Smokey the Bear. That was the whole play. I was a reindeer, or not a reindeer, a deer, just a regular deer.
Smokey the Bear, the guy who's always busting our balls about campfires?
Yep.
Only you can avoid forest fires.
Were
Yep.
you guys
You
in
did
school plays? Like,
No.
I could see you guys doing it.
No, I never got
Yeah,
into it.
We had to as well. I mean,
You
it was
did?
everybody had a role in high school. No, I mean it was if you wanted to.
I even did a show choir camp once when I was in middle school. And I should not have been doing that kind of stuff. Like, I did not have a good singing voice at all. But it was a lot of fun. We did like a bunch of Michael Jackson songs. Yeah.
They never put me in a play, Janel Klein, but I did host a variety show.
Oh my God, you would be so good at that.
As a fifth grade kid, I was named the host of our class variety show. And all I did was my best imitation of Chuck Barris. And some of you younger folks are saying, who? He was the guy who hosted the Gong Show back in the 70s. And I idolized Chuck Barris. So I just did all of his gimmicks up on stage. I even invited my mother to come see this hosting of a variety. We were talking about April Fool's Day. Here are the rest of the April Fool's pranks that you just don't want to go through, unless you want a good punch in the mouth. Okay? At your own risk, these are the April Fool's pranks. They say they'll get you in more trouble than it's worth. Where did we leave off here? Oh, come on. Loosen up a little bit. This is a hilarious gimmick right here. Telling kids that their pet ran away or died.
No, this would have ruined me as a child.
Only if you can get them to cry.
Who has ever done that bit?
I mean,
how did this make the list? So it must have happened at one point around.
I did on accident once.
What?
My kid went away for like 2 weeks, and I was driving him back home, and he goes, "So how's my fish?" And I completely forgotten to feed the fish.
Oh no!
And so the whole ride car, I'm like, "He's fine." And we got home, and he was fine. So,
but you were nervous that when you walked in, that fish was
for an hour and a half. He thought he was dead.
Oh my God!
So you look at your kid and go, "You have a fish?"
He's very sleepy.
I just didn't enter his room the whole time he was gone, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, I was supposed to do that."
Do you know what this makes me think of? Do you guys ever see when they do? Is it Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel where they tell kids at Halloween that they ate all your candy?
I think that's
Yeah.
They tell the kids what now?
Well, like they'll start like videoing their kid and they'll go, "Oh, I'm really sorry, but I ate all your Halloween candy."
Yeah.
And just to see their reaction, and then some start to cry, and they all have different
That's fun.
responses.
Some freak out to the point where you're like, all right, I'm not giving you your Halloween candy. This is not the end of the world.
Some are so nice. They'll be like, "That's okay."
Yeah. Oh, it's so heartwarming.
Again, it's just if telling your kids their pet ran away or died made a list of April Fool's jokes that should not be made, then it must have been pulled once or twice. And these are some parents with a cold-ass sense of humor.
Yeah, you're a bad parent.
Again, I got to tell the story of my friend who came home from high school one day, and he had a can of Mountain Dew in his hand, and he walked up onto his folks' property and cracked open their trash can to throw the empty pop can away, and his dog was in the trash.
Oh, no.
Nah, man. No.
His dog had died while he was at school, and his dad put him in the garbage.
That's not right.
Oh, I thought the dog was playing a prank on us.
No. Wouldn't that be hilarious? Yeah, this was
Did he have a theater major?
Yeah.
That'd be one heck of a good acting dog.
That dog should have been, what was the dog movie with Tom Hanks again? Hoochie, Smoochie.
Oh, Turner and Hooch.
And Hoochie.
They say to be smarter than Hooch. That had to be Lassie.
Lassie was very smart.
Yeah.
They say never mess with someone's alarm clock or phone settings. That sounds pretty minor league to me. I don't know. Way less offensive than telling a child that his dog has died, but food pranks, they say, aren't funny. I don't know, Josh, you pull food pranks at the house once in a while, and you've gotten a lot of laughs from that routine.
Yeah, I mean, nothing too crazy, though. But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Well, it's just here putting toothpaste in between Oreo cookies or salt in the sugar shaker. So what? Didn't you take I'll get there. Didn't you take an onion and pour caramel over the top and present
we said it was carameled apples
to a child as a carameled apple?
Yeah.
See, that can be
and
pretty
that's
funny.
a terrible time as a parent to realize your kid has a severe onion allergy.
Oh, no.
I bring it up every time when we visit his grave.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that joke went too far.
No, it did not.
You were doing good till you got to the gravesite.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to punch you in the nuts.
That happened.
Speaking of pranks that went wrong on April Fool's Day, if you look back in the history, I think I remember this one. Here's a prank that backfired. We were talking about Hooters earlier, Hooters restaurants. They're thinking of going family-friendly, Janel and Willi Myles.
Are they going to wear bib overalls?
I don't know what their plan is with the outfits, but they're trying to go family-friendly. They're trying anything. They're all going bankrupt.
Maybe try serving real wings.
Oh, you don't like their wings?
No.
You son of a bitch.
Never had them.
I love that.
Can't imagine you dress like that and have real wings.
That's actually a lot of people's favorite favorite food about that place is that I guess everyone claims they have killer wings.
Hey, if you can convince your girlfriend to go to Hooters with you because the wings are really good, you're in a good relationship.
Yeah.
I'm not going there. I can go to Buffalo Wild Wings.
Right? There's so many places.
Hooters.
Yeah.
I'm not going to Hooters for wings no more than I'm going to White Castle for burgers.
Oh, now you're going to start trouble.
I just said, did I get somebody?
You're going to start trouble. In the year 2001, a Hooters restaurant in Florida held a Win a Toyota contest for the hardest working waitress. The winner was blindfolded, led to a parking lot to claim her prize, but it wasn't a car. It was a toy Yoda from Star Wars. Stupid.
Wow.
Stupid joke. That joke wasn't funny when we were 5. This lady sued them and eventually received a settlement that allowed her to buy a car.
Heck yeah.
Rightfully
Good for her.
so.
That's happened a couple of times. There was a radio station that said, hey, if you can guess the amount of miles on our station vehicle, then you win it. And somebody did. They guessed to the decimal.
You gotta be kidding me.
And so but what it was is they gave them, just like this one, a toy car. Now the person sued and they won.
Yeah.
Oh
Same type of thing.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Why you want to pull something like that? You just open it up. How do you say it, Josh? Litigations.
Yeah.
Say for entertainment purposes only. That's what you need to say.
You and Janel Klein are for entertainment purposes only. We've been well entertained by the both of you this morning, and we always appreciate your company. No more tours of the great, how did you say it? The
Mountain West.
The Mountain West.
Yeah, I've done the West, I've done the East, and the South, the Southeast, and I just, the Northeast, and I hadn't done the Mountain West.
Okay.
And I finally did that one, and that's it.
You're done.
Yeah.
You didn't bring Josh back a big old cowboy hat or anything?
Man,
So
belt
I got a nice hat at the house. If anybody wants a nice cowboy hat, I got the one that Denzel Washington was wearing in Magnificent Seven.
Oh, that is so
Seriously?
sweet.
He's one of my
Not the
all-time
exact
favorite
same
actors.
one,
Oh.
but I have the exact same one, but not the one he was acting.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
They
So
made
cool.
me one.
Okay.
The company that made his made mine.
I'll be dipped.
And they gave it to me when I was performing out in Medora.
What the hell is Medora?
Medora is southwest Dakota. North Dakota.
North Dakota.
Yeah, it's in the southwest corner of North Dakota. It's called Medora. It's right in the Theodore Roosevelt Park.
Yeah.
National Park.
And they gave you a cowboy hat.
They the Medora musical. It's, I was out there I did a residency.
Oh, that's huge.
30 days. Yeah, I was out there for 30. I did 30 shows, 30 days.
Yeah.
You're so friggin' talented. You're always doing shows and musicals and theater, drama, and wonderful pranks.
I'm kind of a big deal. Not as big as Janel, but big deal. No. And then they and working on this big stage, it's kind of a Western style show.
Yeah.
And it's about the city of Medora and how it was founded and so forth with Teddy Roosevelt and so forth. And so I got this hat that the cowboy store there ordered for me, and I wore it on stage a couple of nights, and now I have it at home.
I'm sure you wear it well.
Are you familiar with Kat Perkins?
Love Katty.
She got her start there.
Yeah,
That's kind of where that's how I had heard of it before. She was real big out there.
Kat now rep by the same agency at one point. I'm not
Oh,
sure
is that right?
she's with us anymore, but she was there. Yeah,
she's awesome.
Yeah,
a lot of talent.
Met her
little
many
package
times.
there.
Yeah, talked to her.
Well, both of you take care of yourselves until we see you next time around. Janelle, let's drink. Let's party.
Let's go for it.
Yeah, we got to get together again soon. Thank you, both of you.
Absolutely.
Happy birthday to Fauché Maintenance Ninja's nephew/godson Drake, turning the big 09 today. Happy 34th birthday to Christopher Power Ranger Highland Jesus from Gamma, Pappy, and Mama B Jesus. Thanks again to our friends C. Willi and Janelle. Also, thank you to our pal Cato. He ran the board for us the last couple of days. We really appreciate you stepping in and doing an incredible job.
Thank you.
Godspeed, brother and sisterhood. Have a super sweet Tuesday.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
You gotta be kidding me. Who greenlit this garbage?
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, there's my beautiful podcast, people. Everybody good? All right, great to hear. Thanks, as always, for listening to the podcast. And, of course, thanks to our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning for making it all possible. Can we believe it's April already? And like the old saying goes, April showers brings gross, disgusting humidity and heat in May. Beat the heat and the summer rush. Have Standard Heating and Air Conditioning out to work on that AC soon. April is the best month to get your air conditioning wrenched on before the huge summer rush starts. So get on that today. Go to standardheating.com and schedule that AC tune-up. Thanks for listening. We love you podcasters. Enjoy the show.